Okay, we're going to go ahead and call this meeting to order. Vice President DiGirolamo, do you wouldn't mind reading the Open Public Meeting Act statement?
This meeting is called pursuant to the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Law. This meeting, July 17, 2018, was included in a list of meeting notices sent to newspapers of record and posted on the bulletin board in the municipal building and has remained continuously posted as the required notices under the statute. In addition, a copy of this notice has been available to the public and is on file in the office of the municipal clerk.
Excellent. Stand for the invocation.
Dear God, guide us as we conduct matters of business today. Guide our community to seek the many services provided to our residents. Help them beat the heat, and please check on your neighbors, especially the elderly. Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
It's always there. Excellent. Get a roll call vote, please.
Council President Fulmer.
Here.
Council Vice President DiGirolamo.
Here.
Councilman Davis.
Here.
Councilman Lutz. Councilman McVeigh.
Here. Okay, first on the agenda, we have a discussion with Aqua Water, and I believe their representatives are here. Gentlemen, if you wouldn't mind stepping up to the podium and providing us with your name and position with Aqua, please.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Joseph Mendel, Director of Operations, Aqua New Jersey Water.
I'm Larry Goldsmith, the area supervisor for the local area here in Phillipsburg.
Excellent. Gentlemen, thank you for coming. You're aware of why you're here today?
Yes, we do.
Okay. So can you help us understand the groundwater issue?
Yes, I can.
Excellent. Thank you.
Okay. As you know, there's been a lot of complaints about this colored water in our system. We have checked our water supply. We have checked our reservoir, our plants, and everything is pristine. There's nothing that's changed coming out of our water treatment plants. However, there has been an unusual amount of unauthorized water use coming out of our fire hydrants. Specifically, contractors, pool service companies, and what happens is when they do when these events occur, they open up hydrants that we don't know where they're open. They come full blast, and they stir up the naturally occurring sediments in the water main, and we can temporarily discolor water. This is a very difficult thing to police. We have people driving around now trying to find. We sent out letters to all the businesses in the area, or all the local contractors. We've also sent out letters to the town officials asking for help, and also the fire department. So if anybody needs water, to fill up a truck for a paving contractor or for a pool service, they can come down to our office. We'll be glad. If we take it out of the hydrant, out of our office by our plant, we won't be disturbing the water mains. In addition, we are going to ramp up our flushing to twice a year. Traditionally, we've only done it annually. Now we're going to do it twice a year. We're going to do a more aggressive scaling approach. We're going to work with the city engineer, Stanley, and we're going to keep him informed. And I asked and I urged the residents to please, if they have a problem, please call our call center. It's very important that we understand and know where these complaints are coming from, so we can immediately go out there and address the situation. And I'll give you our call center number. I think it's on our website also. But our call center number is 1-877-987-2782. Lastly, I just want to point out that our water is safe to drink. These are naturally occurring sediment deposits in the mains that cause discolored water. When this happens and a resident notices this, I'd advise them to open the cold water spigots only, not the hot water. Flush out your lines for about 10 minutes or so.
Use only one spigot to flush. Don't get it into every spigot you have in your house. If you flush just one, it won't pull the discolored water throughout the house.
And I'm here with you. I'm very concerned as well as everybody is all the time. And I'm trying to address this as quickly as possible, but also as smart as possible. I want to get this problem resolved quickly and so we can provide pristine water for the city of Phillipsburg.
Councilman Lutz, do you have anything?
No, thank you.
Council Vice President?
Has this been a recent problem with them being open?
Yes. It started, actually there was a fire event in January that caused it, and then it died down, and then in April, down by the lumberyard, there was an instance where an insurance company opened up 4 or 5 hydrants all at full rate, which really started the problem initially.
It caused 80 calls to our call center at that time when they opened up 5 hydrants all at one time just to see if they worked. I guess it was the property was for sale or something, we weren't interested. We just happened to find out by chance, but we were going to notify them, the lumberyard, that we were going to flush their area because it's a locked up area at night. And when we went down there, they said, oh, well, you don't have to worry about us, because we already flushed our hydrants. And so we investigated a little further and found out that that's indeed what happened.
Go ahead.
It's my understanding there's also been a long-standing agreement that one of the hydrants is being opened down by the sewer to service the train.
Okay.
Are you,
Yeah, we just found out about that.
okay,
and,
I was told it's been in place
we
for
don't-
10 years, so.
We don't know, but it has been, you're right, it has been addressed. I talked to.
It's been
the fire
resolved.
chief. I talked to the fire chief, it's been disconnected, and from what I understand,
It's disconnected?
his line is disconnected from there. And from what I understand, I haven't seen it yet, but someone told me that he has gone to a nearby home and has used water there.
Okay,
So that's metered, that's fine.
okay, thank you.
I do have some cards here, if anybody's interested, I'll leave them up here at the desk, and has our call center number on it.
Please do.
If anybody has an issue they want to call, please call.
Is that all, Council Vice?
We can't address any problems if we don't know about it.
Councilman Davis, do you have any questions?
I don't. Thank you, Council President.
Councilman McVeigh?
Gentlemen, thank you for coming this evening. I know this is a very big concern in our town. Do you consider our hydrants standard here? Are they modernized? What are they supposed to be? Are there other hydrants that should have maybe locking mechanisms where emergency personnel should only, or your personnel should be able to attain them? Or can I go out to any hardware store and pick up a tool to open up a hydrant and cause such problems in the future?
Well, that's a very good question.
Okay.
We talked about putting locks in the hydrant, but there's liability involved with that, especially if you have fires. As far as our hydrants, yeah, they are standard fire hydrants. They are up to date. Any pipe wrench or a hydrant wrench can access the hydrant. We don't want to turn the hydrants off because they're supposed to be used for firefighting purposes, and we want to keep them live for that reason. Specifically for the fire event that happened in January, which
We are looking at identifying, putting like a ringer on them, like other communities do that.
Right.
To alert people to know, let them know that hey, you cannot be operating these hydrants unless you have permission, which is important. People need to know that.
Thank you for your response. That's all I have, Council President.
Thank you. Council Vice President, you have another question?
I'm sorry, it just reminded me of something else. When you have these service, you mentioned it's going to be twice a year. Do you notify the
yes, we do.
immediate area?
Yes, we do. We
Because
got
I know I was shocked to be woken up at 11:30 at night when one started going off across the street from my house.
We have what they call robocall because they
Oh,
notify.
so to those of us that don't have home phone numbers any longer?
We call the number that's listed on your account. If you don't update your account, then we can't call.
Good question. We also have it posted on our website. too.
Yes, we do.
So please check our website constantly. I want to address this as well as everybody else. I'm very concerned. I want to get this fixed.
What I'll do the next time when we start our fall flushing, I'll notify Vicki. That way you'll know when we start and when we end. And then that way you guys can even post it on your website, your webpage.
No, that's okay, Council Vice President. So I have just a few questions. How often do you test the water?
We test it daily, plants.
Okay, so you do
Yes.
test it daily, you tested it today. So your next test then will be tomorrow, yes?
Yes, with the routine tests, correct.
Is it possible to have 2 weeks' worth of testing sent to me?
Sure, absolutely.
Excellent. Okay.
Absolutely.
Is there an email address that I could reach you at?
Sure, you want me?
Unless you have a card.
I'll
If you have a
give
card, I'll take your card.
Yes, our environmental compliance manager, she left some cards here for me, because she's the one that handles this, sir.
Thank you. You have to call me, sir. You can call me Bobby. That's right. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I got it. Well,
I believe I've spoken with her. Thank you, sir. Gentlemen, you understand why you're here this evening, right? I mean, obviously, it's a huge concern for our residents.
Yes.
We certainly don't want to be the next Flint, Michigan.
no,
Right?
you're not.
Okay, excellent. That makes me feel good. If it's okay with the panel, I'd like to open it up to the floor. I'd look at, with a show of hands, how many people are here tonight for Aqua? Okay, so then I would like to open it up to the floor if they have any questions for you. So I'd like a motion to open it up to the floor.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Lutz?
Yes.
Councilman Davis?
Yes.
Council Vice President DeGirolamo?
Yes.
Councilman McVeigh?
Yes.
Council President Polk?
Yes. All right,
The
gentlemen.
mayor's been waiting patiently, he had something he wanted to add.
Yeah, if you didn't mind, Council President, real quick.
No, I don't mind, Mr. Dickey, but you can't yell from the back of the room, okay?
Council President, it was an excellent idea to get the test results because clean water, of course, is a very important issue. I would also ask Aqua, if possible, if they would advertise those in the Express Times to put the people at rest.
Okay, I'll check into that. We have it on our website on
Thank
consumer
you,
confidence
Mr.
reports,
Dick.
but I will look into that, Mr. Mayor.
Excellent. Okay, thank you. So the first person, I believe, ma'am, you, yes, the blonde, right there, raise your hand, I apologize. Can you state your name and address for the record? I'm sorry.
Wendy Delmonte, 155 Prospect Avenue. I appreciate everything that you're doing, but I just have a couple of questions. The first thing is I understand about the unauthorized use of fire hydrants can be causing problems. But is that happening every single day? Because every single day the water is red.
Okay,
That's a concern.
I don't know the answer to that question. Okay, I mean, could it be? Yes. It doesn't even have to be in your area. It could be like a few blocks away, pulling water past your area at higher rates. However, I'd ask that you call our call center so we could send somebody out to your residence to look at your water and see if there's anything.
I did do that, and they were
Okay.
very nice, called back the next day, and miraculously that one day the water wasn't brown.
Okay.
After that, it's now brown again,
Okay.
so I'm gonna call again.
Okay.
Please call again.
Yeah.
We'll send somebody out the same day and have a look at it. and
Just the
see.
second part of the question regarding the testing of the water, where is that test performed? Is it the plant? or-
Yes, it's coming out of our plant, the
So then that's
effluent.
not what's brown.
No, what's brown is what we've been finding is the naturally occurring sediment deposits. See if the water sits in the water main for an extended period of time, it just settle, naturally occurring mineral deposits just settle. And then when you blow a lot of water through it, it stirs it up, and it turns to brown.
I'm just concerned because I feel like we're testing the water that's where it's not the issue.
We can gladly come out and test for a full battery test at the house.
Thank you.
Mr. Minor.
I'm Joe Miner, 392 South Main Street in Phillipsburg. The brown water, are you sure there's no heavy metals in it? It's all iron oxide?
We do not, yes.
No, the iron content in the water that we send out is very, very low. Very low.
But okay, by the time it gets, when I have brown water, and I've already, say, boiled some spaghetti or had a glass of it, I don't worry because you're checking for heavy metals, but I just found out where you're checking. Do you check for heavy metals down the lines where things might have happened?
If we get a call to go out to someone's house, or if we see, get a call that there's, she just got an alarm, we'll collect a sample at the site.
At the
And
site.
analyze it, yes.
20 or so years ago, you published a test that had a footnote, and in the footnote, it had a footnote, and apparently you had too much lead at one test at one time, like sudden breakdown. I don't know how you monitor for that.
Okay.
I'm
We
still drinking water.
we don't know any lead out there that's, we're in a very aggressive program to replace all old service lines. And since I've been here since 2012, I haven't come across one lead service on our side since I've been here.
We did, our last lead and copper study was done in 2015. We're required to do it every 3 years.
Okay, this was probably 1990 something.
Okay, and the results that we have, no detect for lead, and everything is below the 90%.
But I don't have to worry about the brown, that doesn't, that's just some dirt.
Aesthetically, it
I can
looks,
live
it
with
looks
that.
good.
It's still a
safe.
concern.
It's safe.
Right.
Sir?
My name is John Betts. I do not reside in your community. However, I live over at Drayton Gardens over in Otakon.
Okay.
I would like to know where your underground sources of water emanate from. Where are they located? This is a question.
For OPAP.
We have 3 wells that are right alongside the river, behind Baker Chemical area, not just.
Is there any leaching from Baker Chemical?
No.
Is there any
No.
downstream on the Delaware River, since it's pulled from the Delaware, around the Delaware? Anything coming from the fracking at the riverheads?
The wells are not under the influence of the river.
Okay. Do you draw any water from the river?
No.
Has somebody done a study on that?
Yes.
Where your
There has been
sources
a study done.
are they accessible by the public?
Sure, well, the DEP has it on file, right?
Right.
Sure, the
Okay.
Department of Environmental Protection, but if you call our office, I'm sure somebody can get it.
Okay, thank you, sirs. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? Sir?
Dan Boyce, 244 Irwin. My concern is, I live on Irwin Street, and the brown water's been going on for quite a while, including the winter. If they opened up the hydrants, it would have froze the roads. So I'm not buying that story. I know, I have a couple neighbors that heard water running and called Aqua numerous times, and Aqua says they can't find anything, but we've had 4 sinkholes on Irwin Street.
Okay, that's a good point, sir. And I wanted to bring that up, and I forgot. Thank you for reminding me. We have hired an outside consultant who's been aggressively performing leak detection studies in the area, and we're slowly getting around, not slowly, quickly getting around to all the areas in the city. And I'm hoping that we'll find something. If we don't, it's going to come back to the unauthorized water use.
I will contact my,
Which street do you live on?
Irwin. If there's a leak, could that cause the problem? Water?
what's that?
If there's a leak, could that be what's causing the water to discolor?
But our leak detection program's been going on 2+ years, and in your area, as well as all the, what we call the low pressure zone, which is downtown, up to Roseberry, and back toward the river. We've really tightened up the system a lot since we started the program, fixing all the leaks we find. We're not, whenever we hear noise, or he hears noise, he reports it to us, we go out and fix it within a day or two. Whenever, as quick as we can get. Now, I haven't heard of any leaks over on Irwin Street, but I will send somebody by.
There was just 2 sinkholes.
Okay.
The sinkholes can be caused by numerous things.
I understand that, but like I said, since I bought my home, I know I have at least 3 neighbors that have called saying they hear water running. It's not in their home, it's not in their basements, it's not in any of the neighbors' basements. And Aqua says they can't find anything, but they can hear, maybe it's a ghost, I don't know.
So I will definitely look into it and find out. But if there's water, if you or your neighbors are hearing water, and we're not hearing it on our side, we can turn the water off to the residents, and if we don't hear water, we know it's not on our side, it's going to be on the customer side. So then it would be up to the customer to make the repair. We will notify them if we find them.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ma'am?
The next call is 26A Glen Avenue. As far as the unauthorized use of hydrants, taking the days where there have been hydrant usage because of fires, what is your unaccounted water percentages? Has there been a change in that would indicate that it's due to the hydrants being open?
Well, the unaccounted for water is been improving because of the loggers that we have and then us finding leaks out there that are unforeseen to us. So we go out and fix all these. So the unaccounted for water has improved probably 4 or 5% in the last 2 years, which is significant.
But what about since there's been this issue with the dirty water? So in that time period, what has your percentage of unaccounted water been?
It's been about the same. We haven't seen any changes.
So how can you then say that it's due to unauthorized hydrant usage?
Well,
If your flows aren't increasing that much, whereas that's considered unaccounted water,
Okay, if I could interject real quick. When we get unauthorized water use, or they open up a hydrant quickly and fill a tanker truck, it's a minimal amount of water used or taken compared to the overall pumpage. So it's so minute of an amount. While it pulls water and rushes water through the main, there's not that much water being taken. And it adds, it's very little percentage-wise based to affect the overall account.
What Joe's trying to say is we pump 4 million gallons of water a day. If somebody comes by and takes 2,000 gallons of water or 6,000 gallons of water, but they take it in a wrong way.
I understand the change in pressure in the main.
What's that?
I understand that the change in the pressure of the main is going to cause that stir-up. But like I said, my concern is what is your percentage of unaccounted water? Is it within the parameters that DEP has set?
Well, like I said, it's been improving. No, it's not within what DEP recommends. I would say DEP, maybe BPU. They like to see the unaccounted for around 15%.
And what is yours?
It's much higher.
Around 30. But I don't think that has any bearing to what the question you're asking.
Never know.
Good point.
I think that should be a major concern.
And like I said, it's been improving over the last 2 years, almost 5%.
Okay. Ma'am?
Nicole Turner, 112 Road. I just have one small concern. A lot of the residents in the town are renters, and a lot of the landlords carry water, sewer, garbage included in the rent. So when you're putting a blast out there, only the homeowners are getting an alert. The renters aren't getting an alert. Is there any way that a renter not being on the account can sign up at the water company to get the alert that the water's been turned off because there's a break somewhere, or there's maintenance somewhere, or that you're flushing the lines and all of our water's going to be brown before we have a problem or we ruin our laundry or something like that?
That's a good point. We can certainly work with the city in some advertisement fashion to get that out. If that's okay.
So possibly put a notice in the paper or something.
Work
That's
together.
Mayor suggested.
And I, one other thing. So you're only responsible for the water getting to, like, say, my curb. It's my responsibility to maintain the pipes and everything in the water service from your entry at my curb into my house, correct?
Right.
So again, as a renter, if there's a problem in this, from the source of where you guys are giving it to us, coming into the residence, how are any of us supposed to know that?
Well, I guess your landlord.
Landlord-tenant rights.
Right.
It's their responsibility to tell the tenants.
If we were to find, just say my leak detector came out and he came to your house and he recognized your service line, and we found out it was on your line, we would notify the tenant, not the landlord, only because they live there. So we would give them a notice if they weren't home.
But are we allowed to, as not being the person on the bill, is the tenant allowed to call and ask questions?
Sure.
I know with the gas company and things like that, if you are not the person on the bill, you can't call.
Well, regarding billing matter, probably.
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to find anything about
Service,
billing.
Right.
You wouldn't be able to make a change in the billing. But you can certainly
Service-wise.
Sure,
report.
and if you have water quality issues, absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Toomey?
Yeah, Bill Timmon, 230 South Main Street. I don't have an issue at this point, but if there was a crack or a break in the service line into a house, would that generate the muddy condition as that's flowing through the lines?
Possibly just at that house, but not for any other.
Right. Well, it'd be localized if it was on just your service line. And it may not even anything happen because if there's enough pressure behind on the water line itself, it should still continue, but it'll leak out. It won't come in. Generally.
And do they listen for leaks along the street to see if they pick up anything?
Yes. We have data loggers. We have 274 data loggers placed throughout the city in the low pressure zone area. And they take readings there every day. And then he comes in and reads them once a month. And then we can find out, I mean, we found leaks that happened just the night before. And then we go out and fix it, and the leak's been repaired.
Anyone else? Excellent. Gentlemen, I appreciate you coming out this evening. I do know you have to make it over to Bohacon. So with there being nothing else from this panel nor the crowd, I'd like to thank you for coming out today. You do state clearly and for the record for all of our residents that their water is safe, yes?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
100%.
All right. Excellent. Hopefully, we don't have to have you here again, but if we do, it'll be on good terms, right?
Yes.
Excellent. Thank you very much for coming out today.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Okay, next on the agenda, we have Miss Mary Beth Ringo from the Municipal Alliance. There she is. How are you, Ms. Ringo?
Good, how are you?
Doing well, thank you. Floor is yours.
Municipal, I don't know why I'm here.
If you could just explain to, I guess a lot of the council members, especially the new ones, were unsure of what the Municipal Alliance was.
Okay.
Okay.
First of all, we're in grant year 4.
Use the microphone.
We're in, this, it's upside down. Okay. We're in the fourth year of a 5-year grant. I'm talking to you guys. We're in the 4th year of a 5-year grant. So all of this information has been passed along to the council. All of the information is in a file in the municipal building. You have all signed the resolutions, I presume, because this has been going on for 30 years in the town of Phillipsburg. The Municipal Alliance is a program that is funded by the Governor's Council on Alcoholism and Drug Abuse. It's programs through a town or through a municipality, funded through monies that are collected by drug and alcohol offenders. So if you go out and get a DWI, the money that you have paid, most probably goes through something called DEETR funds. And it's all collected through the state of New Jersey, and then they decide where that money will go, county through county. So Phillipsburg has, and I'm not quite sure what your population is, but whatever your population is what the money that you receive. So Pohatcon receives a different amount than Phillipsburg receives. Alva receives a different amount than Mansfield receives. But this is how it goes throughout the state of New Jersey. Everybody has a municipal alliance, and everyone handles their municipal alliance differently, and it's according to a committee. I just coordinate the grant. The grant for the town of Phillipsburg, your total is, from the state of New Jersey, I believe your total is $12,440, and from Phillipsburg, they do a cash match. Every municipality cash matches, or you can opt out. Phillipsburg is $3,750, I believe. So, up until this year, the Municipal Alliance in Phillipsburg was coordinated by Dawn Slifer. Is it Slifer? Okay. And DJ Capese was the coordinator of the grant. So a lot of the programming took place at the Firth Youth Center, it being the only youth center in Phillipsburg. So some of the programs are in Phillipsburg. The TIPS certification program, does anyone know what that was? Okay. Okay. So that program is being done a little differently this year. Instead of demanding that the bartenders and the establishments go through the TIPS training, we're doing a video and we're sending that out to everybody. So if they decide to adopt it, that's terrific. If not, that's terrific too, I guess. They have something called Substance Abuse Prevention Education. Up until this year, that's what it was called. And I can just read you, to educate all members of the community on the negative impact alcohol has on the body. The Alliance will utilize various communication strategies, public education, social marketing, media advocacy to influence community norms, increase public awareness, and attract community support. Various locations within the town of Phillipsburg, including the Firth Youth Center and the REACH program at the Phillipsburg Middle School. The other program that they do is Big Brothers Big Sisters. So one of the problems that I'm finding as the coordinator of the grant actually is that because you're in the 5th year of a grant, you don't just go in and wipe the table of what was approved by the county and approved by the state. So if things want to change, we can tweak them a tiny bit, such as maybe not giving $5,000 to Big Brothers Big Sisters, but giving $2,500. But you can't just go in and the committee, it's not done by me, it's done by a committee. They don't just go in and wipe the table clean. So we're going into our last year. So if anyone has some ideas on what they would like to do, perhaps next year, 2019 to 2020 would be the year to make that happen.
Excellent. Who's on this committee? Is it just residents from the town?
Residents from the town. This, again, was all established. The committee membership.
I looked for it, I just couldn't find the members.
You couldn't find it. Okay.
No, ma'am.
Okay. Well, let's see who's on it. The people that I have, the people that I reached out to are the people that have been on the committee. Joanne Flynn from the middle school, some Jan Swick from the high school, Kelly from the Firth Youth Center, the chief of police. Since then, both of you, Danielle and Bobby.
Actually,
excuse me.
It's Mr. Lutz.
Okay.
Councilman Lutz.
And Councilman Lutz. Were you on that? Were you on that?
Last year.
Okay. Anybody who was on the committee would have received that invitation here.
But I don't receive any information.
You don't? Okay, well, you will, your name is on here, so okay, you will then.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Robert Coyle, he's the chairperson. Pastor Keevy, he was somebody from the faith-based community.
Great. I appreciate that. Thank you. How often do you meet? You said quarterly?
We meet more. I personally like more than quarterly, especially in Phillipsburg, because I wasn't all of that familiar with it. So I felt like I needed to sort of get up to speed a little bit more. We're meeting basically every other month. The next meeting is August 16th.
And what time?
It's at 6 p.m. at Andover Morris.
Excellent. Councilman Lutz, do you have any questions?
No, I don't. I just want to say I haven't got any information this year about it at all. Anybody else been getting information, but I haven't.
Okay.
So.
I'm sorry about that. Yeah, you will.
Yeah.
Council Vice President, any questions? Excellent. Councilman Davis?
No, Council President.
Councilman Day?
Thank you for coming. You said you were open to new ideas coming into that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Hopefully there'll be a lot of involvement.
Okay, the one thing that cannot be done is if you order a piece of equipment, it can't be over $500 and it has to last for 4 years. So I think they ordered a projector last year or the year before, something like that, and it's, like sacred. It has to last for 4
And
years.
this is services, programs,
Yes.
equipment.
Yeah.
What else would be prohibited from the,
I'm not sure. We've never entered into the prohibitive area. I'm not sure.
only if there's folks that are here this evening or watching once we're done, that would approach anybody here on council, would like to get back to them with some, would not want them to
What
invest
can't
their time into an idea, but possibly may fall on the cutting room floor, so,
I think any ideas are great, actually.
thank you.
I like new ideas. And I'm just somebody who coordinates the grant. I don't dictate the grant, so I just do the approach.
Excellent. Ms. Rigo, thank you so very much for your time. I'm not sure, do we need to open it up to the floor? No. I do appreciate you coming out. I know that you had taken your time this evening, so, well, thank you very, very much. You're very welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, that's the end of our discussion. We can move forward with the payment of the bills, which, get a motion. So moved.
Second?
Okay, can we get the bills list, Vic?
The current fund, $1,189,477.80. State and federal grants, $303.36. Capital fund, $91.95. Sewage utility fund, $119,618.84. Planning board trust fund, $10,805. Section 8, $598.25. Agency fund, $284.32. For a regular bill of $1,421,179.52. Section 8 rent payments, $142,498. And the prepaid bill list, there's the sewer utility fund, $83, and the agency fund, $149,106.10, for a prepaid bill list of $149,189.10. Grand total of all funds, $1,712,866.62.
Okay. Councilman Lutz?
Nothing.
Council Vice President?
Yes. 732, I have three questions. 73228 is a 2018 sponsorship for Old Town Festival. We pay as a town a sponsorship for Old Town? Mayor?
We do.
Do we pay that to who? The chamber?
The Chamber of Commerce.
Is that part of their stipend?
Long-standing agreement prior to my administration. I could not give you the history, Councilman DiGirolamo. Maybe Town Clerk, could you help?
It's almost like a donation that we contributed every year.
Do you know if that comes out of their stipend money?
I don't believe it does.
73207, JCP&L. I see the electricity on Corliss Avenue is exorbitantly high. Why is that for a building that's partially occupied? It's been bothering me for a while, so I'm going to ask. It's over $5,000 a month. Do we know why that is? I checked the library bill, I checked Fillmore Street. All seems within reason. $5,000 seems a little high to me.
Was that 73207?
73207, it's JCP&L, all of it. But the bill's much higher than that. But specifically, I'm asking why the municipal building is over $5,000 for 1 month.
Council President?
Yes, sir.
May I respond?
Yes, Mayor.
Councilwoman DiGirolamo, the bill is historically high at the Corliss Avenue building. That I do know, but I don't know the exact number. I will tell you right now, in order to keep the police department there are air filters running 24/7. We do not have the chiller on, which is very absorbent. piece of equipment that takes a lot of electricity. We just have window units and they're minimal. So if I had to point my finger at anything, it would be those air filters that are running 24/7 for the black mold. And of course, as you know, you'll be taking action tonight to end that. What I will do is ask CFO Merlo to get back to you with a average of 3 months in the summer, June, July, and August, so you can compare and contrast it.
Good, thank you. And 73212, the aqua bill, I think I got an email today that there was a leak. Is that what that's from? A leak at the pool? Or did we pay to fill the pool? Because it's my understanding we should be getting one free fill of the pool at the start of the season.
Council President?
Oh, yes, sir.
Yes. But there was a leak detected at the pool, and it's been ongoing for no one really knows how many years. There was a pipe broken in the old shower and sanitary area, and it's been running and running and running. The pipe's been repaired. We estimated we're spending about $3,000 a month on water running out of the pool. We're filling it every day. Again, I can't answer for it. When you speak of the free fill, I wish the Aqua people were here. That is something I have no knowledge of whatsoever. I apologize.
I know the sending district pool gets a free fill at the beginning of the season, so I assume we have the same agreement.
Again, I will ask and have Mr. Merlo, since he pays the bill there, it is metered there, to send an email directly to you.
Super. No need to call. Thank you.
Councilman Davis?
Yeah, just one question, Mayor. 73258 Nassau Capital Advisors. Are we still going to be reimbursed by Bridge for that service? That's the financial advisory service for the pilot.
Yes, all the pilot expenses, including the pilot council, will be part of the escrow, which was music to our ears, because that can become very expensive. In the past, we didn't have a pilot consultant. I think everything fell upon the town attorney's shoulders. Now we have an expert in that arena, which is very important when it comes to the taxpayers and the pilot.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor. No other questions.
Councilman McVeigh?
Just one that was touched on earlier this evening regarding the fire hydrants under our water and aqua. That would be 28733, $32,170.20. So that's a lot of water, and I would ask at this time, possibly the mayor's office in conjunction with the department heads, OEM, anyone that would have their hands on this situation, maybe can look further so this we can prevent it in the future. It's just a staggering number to me, and if we can.
Sorry, I didn't mean to apologize. I had a similar concern to you, Councilman, when I saw that. That's a quarterly fee we pay that I believe is stipulated by the BPU for how much they're allowed to charge us for fire hydrant service. That's why it is so high. It is a regulated rate, I think. Am I correct, Counselor? Are you familiar?
Yes.
Okay.
With the fire hydrants?
Yes.
Yes. Even though you were saying this evening that we had the extra amount down by the train, it's kind of where I'm going with this.
That the very high dollar amount is based on the fire hydrant fee that's allowed by the utilities to the town.
Okay, well, it doesn't, I just got the impression this evening that when they were talking about the excessive turning on of the hydrants, which caused our initial problem, that if that was the case, that number would come in lower. It'd be great if we can get on top of that, plus we talked about it this evening. Thank you, Councilman Davis.
Thank you.
Council President, I'm good.
Excellent, thank you. I have one, which is check number 73276 to Pentilla Data in the amount of, I believe it was $624.70 for their internet services. And my question is, it appears that we're still paying for the building located at 108 Fleming Drive. I know it says 108 Anderson Street here, but for the Firth Youth Center's internet bill, are we still paying for that? I think it was motioned and voted on back in March. We shouldn't be.
That's a no, Council President.
Right, so we shouldn't be paying.
It's been eliminated, I believe.
Okay, then I would ask if we could table bill number 73276, contact Pentella Data, and let them know that we were being overcharged by $124.95.
Did a whole contract, Bob just did a whole thing with them.
Okay.
For 108.
Right.
So I don't know what this, I don't know what that is on there, if it's from the end of June.
Okay.
Still, or
Possibly contractual, you know, that a service end date, I wouldn't know myself, but it's a guess.
This is,
I think we just switched it over because it was July.
okay. So, we just switched it over right now. This is the June, this is the old amount?
Yeah, I believe that.
Ends the contract.
Right.
Okay, then I have no problem.
Council President, I wanted to answer Councilman McVeigh's question about the Polar Express and Thomas the Tank. I did address this issue with the unofficial use, or the illegal use of the hydrant down there. No one knew about. He is going to erect a water tower, something like Petticoat Junction. I'm not exactly sure, but we will not be using. I do want a picture of that. He will not be using town water anymore without a meter. It's going to be metered. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Roll call?
Councilman Lutz?
Yes.
Councilman Davis?
Yes.
Council Vice President Giraldo?
Yes.
Councilman McVeigh?
Yes.
Council President Polk?
Yes. Okay. Bills has been approved. We can move forward to public comment on agenda items. I would ask that you come to the podium, state your name and address clearly, and be respectful at all times. Folks in the audience, if you wish to clap, feel free. But I would ask that no one boo, you don't agree, you're not forced to agree. And again, I would ask that everybody maintain respect. And we do have a 5-minute time frame. So, Dot.
Sandra Morissette, 5 Fairview Heights in Phillipsburg.
Yes, ma'am.
It should be noted that the second reading of Ordinance 2018-10 does not include the word empty. That attendees at the June 12 Town Council work session were told would be added to this ordinance. We do have this on tape, so I'm a little confused as to why those words have been deleted. Anyone have an explanation?
They're in the ordinance.
They're in the ordinance.
But they're not here on this piece of paper. It states to permit storage of waste disposal containers and trucks in the zone. It does not state to permit storage of empty waste disposal containers and empty trucks in the zone.
Counselor?
Ms. Morrison, what is it that you're looking at?
I'm looking at something that
The
was
title.
printed out.
Not the content.
Oh, the title, okay. So the body of the ordinance itself reads, storage of empty waste disposal containers and storage of empty waste disposal trucks.
Thank you so much, Mr. Leonard. I'll get that. So they say a picture is worth 1,000 words, so I brought several pictures up for your review in my 1,000 words. Perhaps the most interesting picture is of a full LMR truck that was followed when it exited the new LMR disposals location on South Main Street about 2 weeks ago. We're going to leave this here, but this shows the truck as it goes down Main Street towards the north end of town. I'm also going to leave these pictures here, pass them around for anybody who would like to look at them. Street cleaners follow our town's garbage truck for a reason, to clean leachate and other residue off city streets. But the person who took the picture of the full LMR truck observed it dripping leachate all over the road. They appear at this time to be, even though LMR is in receipt of a cease and desist letter and have been told they are in violation of several town ordinances, LMR Disposal continues to operate, perhaps because they knew this town council would indeed pass Ordinance 2018-10, and they did, quietly in a work session, even though the Planning Council had refused to grant their waiver request, and even though there was no attendee from LMR Disposal nor their lawyer at that Planning Commission to answer any questions. LMR is now in violation of that first reading, which stated empty trucks, empty containers. The pictures here clearly show there are full trucks and full containers being stored at this location. There's a picture also showing where LMR carelessly broke off a sewer cap on the grounds that they were leveling the area. You will also see a picture of containers next to the railroad embankment. Those containers are there to support the bank and prevent erosion after LMR cleared additional space into the railroad embankment. Luckily, they pay their taxes as they are becoming a very expensive local business to support. So not only is LMR Disposal in violation of the first reading of the amended ordinance, which said empty containers, empty trucks, they're also in violation of Town Code Section 625-73, prohibiting trucking businesses whose primary business activity is hauling for hire. They're also in violation of 624-7A, which relates to excessive noise. They're also in violation of Section 625-748 that states there cannot be emissions or odorous gases or other odorous matters in such quantity as to be readily detectable. Alpha refused their expansion plans. So even though people might argue they are good taxpayers and employ many Phillipsburg residents, the reality is these employees had a job when LMR operated in Alpha and were not granted their expansion plans. And I am sure they will continue to be employed by the company if they up stakes and move into the countryside and away from our main street. Thank you.
Ms. Morissette. Do you have a question?
Mrs. Morissette.
I believe Councilwoman Vice President, Council Vice President DiGirolamo has a comment. No, you didn't?
No.
Okay. Ms. Morissette, I do have one question with regard to the picture of the truck leaving.
Absolutely.
The truck leaving full, was that truck followed full as well?
Yes, it was followed full by a person who took that picture.
So it was followed full onto the LMR property and then followed full leaving the LMR property?
No. The person who was in their car watched them exit LMR full and then followed them down.
Correct. So prior to, did the person visually see the truck full enter the property?
I cannot attest to that one way or the other.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
In which case, if they entered the property full, then you've got a problem because it states in your ordinance it should be empty.
Just states that they can't store them there. That's all.
Can't be stored. True. That's true.
I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
You're very welcome. Mr. Amy.
Alan Amy, 71 Lewis Street, Phillipsburg, New Jersey. On behalf of LMR, I believe this ordinance should go through with a few reasons. One is it hires everyone, keeps everyone here. We have taxpayers here. They work here, they stay here, they use our schools, everything. That's one. The other one is this. There has not been, to my information, one complaint from LMR from odor, and there has not been one complaint from the odor of our own garbage trucks that sit at the armory. The project hasn't complained, McDonald's hasn't complained, Lincoln Street hasn't complained, Page Street hasn't complained. No one has complained about odor from our own garbage trucks. So I believe the man is trying to do the right thing, and it's a viable business, and for the most part, anything about vibration or truck, it's no more vibration and probably less than Atlantic States or whatever the name is now. And the railroad continues to run through Phillipsburg for over 100 years. So any vibration issue or anything, I think, is moot. Thank you very much.
Hello, how y'all doing?
Doing well, how are you?
Good night. Lee Clark, 341 Heckman Street. So I'm also here to speak on ordinance 2018-10A. I'm here to speak against the introduction of LMR into our town. And I'm looking at the ordinance in front of me. It is stated within section 2 that storage of empty waste disposal containers and storage of empty waste disposal trucks. However, the issues presented before us are not empty, and those are the issues that I wanted to bring up because I am deeply concerned by these threats to our town. Now, it's my understanding that if this ordinance were to go through, that would represent 30 to 40 trucks per day going through South Main Street. That's just from what I heard. I'm definitely open to do research, further research on that, but that's just something that I've heard and something that is concerning to me. Now, South Main Street was not designed to take that kind of pounding, essentially. We're already trying to fill in potholes, cracks within streets throughout town. Could you imagine if so many trucks were going through South Main Street per day? Now, last year, LMR was expelled from Alpha. A petition was sent through to have extension canceled and have LMR taken out of Alpha. Many of the reasons stated by the residents were noise, pollution, leakage, and rodents as their top concerns. And as a result, LMR was taken out of Alpha, and now they're here today to get acceptance to come into Phillipsburg. Now, it was recommended by our planning board that we should not move on this. It was recommended by our town engineer that we should not move on this. So my only question is, why are we discussing this? Now, I'm not against jobs. I like jobs. It's good for the people, it's good for the taxpayers. However, the environmental concerns that are facing us are very, very serious. Even if these are empty containers, even if these are empty trucks, what are the emissions given off by these ferry trucks that will be going down our streets day in and day out? That's what I'm asking. The leakage, the emissions, and the noise and the smells. We cannot ignore these issues. They will be affecting the people that are living downtown in downtown Phillipsburg. And I think these are just things that we need to take into consideration. Essentially, that's all I have to say about that. And I think these are issues that we must address, that we must really look into. But I am, in its current form, against this ordinance. I believe we should turn it down, as Alpha had a year ago, for good reason, and I believe are the same reasons why we should turn it down today. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your comment, Mr. Carter. Mr. Sarbatini.
Good evening. My name is Steve Sarbatini. I live at 317 Irvin Street in Phillipsburg. I'm a lifelong resident of the town. I'm against this ordinance. I spent 3 or 4 months up in Alpha going to their planning meeting. I've heard the people tell me how sick they were getting. And I've seen people getting breathing problems and going to the doctors. I've seen people waking up at 3 o'clock and 4 o'clock because of the noise. They were taxpayers of Alpha. They were veterans of Alpha. We have this on South Main Street. We have a senior center home, a home there. These people are old. I deliver medicine. They're on oxygen. They're on breathing medicine. What are we saying to them? Tough luck. Money talks. You have a face. We don't live there. It's not going to bother me living on Irvin Street. But I know how bad the breathing problem can be for elder people. We cannot
tell these people, we don't care about you. Who cares about how you are breathing? Oh, your child has asthma? So what?
Mr. Zarbatani,
We got a
just ask
business going.
that you address the board, that's all.
Yes, but these people,
Right,
it's
but-
going to affect all these people also.
I understand, I'm not saying that you can't.
Okay, now, you've known me for a long time.
Yes, sir, I have.
I'm not a troublemaker or anything else.
No, sir, you're not.
Okay, but my main concern is not Democrats, it's not Republicans, it's the health of the people that live in the area. Now, if they get sick, and if I live down there and I got sick because of the smell of the diesel fuel, the first people I would sue would be the town of Phillipsburg. Okay?
Mr.
And that's what I would do.
Mr. Zarbatani.
But I do not want them downtown. And I'm very happy, they're a very successful company and growing. But we should not place that burden on our senior citizens. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, my name is Gary Carnaval. Is this just for this ordinance? Because I have a matter that...
This is for anything that you see on the agenda.
Okay, I like this. Okay, like I said, my name is Gary Carnaval.
You're right, sir.
Good evening. This is in reference to 159 Mercer Street.
It's on the agenda?
What is that under? Is it on the agenda, sir?
That's what I mean, I don't know nothing.
Open time, it'd be the right time.
How do I, when do I do it?
Number 15 on the agenda.
I'll let you know as soon as it's open time. I'll call you up.
I'm not familiar.
No, that's okay, sir. A lot of people do the same thing. Yes, sir. State your name and address for the record.
Hi, John Spirit, 247 Schaefer Avenue, Peterborough. I don't understand why the council wants to pass this. I thought that the idea of development was to bring in tourism, not trucks. We have a development plan, and I'm wondering who's going to want to come to Phillipsburg. You know, what's it going to be? Let's go in and see the trucks. I can't see that people are going to want to come into the town. I can't see anybody want to put new businesses. It's a two-lane road as it is, and I don't live on South Main, but that doesn't mean I'm not concerned about the people down there. Foundations are going to be shaking around and everything else, and LMR can go elsewhere. And I don't understand why this council wants to invite LMR here when Alpha, and I don't think they're any smarter or less than we, don't want them. And I don't see what the benefit is to the town. I mean, once these trucks come lumbering through and back up traffic, I don't see what the benefit is going to be to the town other than to make it a less desirable place to live in, to visit, to start a business. I mean, I just don't see what the rationale is, you know, assuming somebody doesn't have any hidden agenda here, but, you know, LMR can go somewhere else. They can go someplace else. We can't move out of Phillipsburg, and I think that the council is doing a great disservice to the town if they vote on this, and I think that people will remember this, whether it's next year or in 2 years when people here are running for election. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment.
Dan Boyce, 244 Irwin. I was going to keep my mouth shut, as hard as that might be to believe, but this is really bothering me. I don't understand this. I'm hearing senior citizens, it's going to affect senior citizens, but senior citizens when they were younger were fine with all the trucks that ran through here from Ingersoll Rand and Bell and Howe and all the other industries. It was still, South Main Street was a two-lane road then, and they had more traffic then. I'm sure Bell and Howe alone probably had more trucks running in and out of it than LMR. The comparison to Alpha is like, that just blows me away. You can see how corrupt everything is in that town. If you go there and you talk, I've talked to people I know.
Mr. Boyce, I apologize. Folks, I would ask again, and I asked for civility, and I'm going to ask one last time. If someone does speak out of turn, I will have you removed. Mr. Boyce, please.
I know people that live in the vicinity of LMR. I know the restaurant owner that was right next door to where LMR was and had absolutely no problem. If a restaurant has no problem serving food next to a garbage disposal place, I can't understand anything else. It was brought up that it's trucking company for hire, and that's not allowed. Well, then, every trucking company shouldn't be allowed, because trucking companies are for hire. They're not just there to park their trucks on the street and look pretty and get your picture taken with them or anything like that. There's movers or whatever they are, you hire them. It's no different. The leakage, people have garbage cans and the rain gets into it and it leaks in there too. You want to do something, you're worried about the environmental concerns and everything else, then let's get rid of probably 70% of the vehicles. I probably own a couple of them too, that leak oil and antifreeze and everything else.
Folks, let's let Mr. Boyce finish.
Thank you. It's a two-way street. We need businesses in here. You know, once upon a time, people weren't too happy with Utopia in Easton, okay? Easton built itself around Utopia. It's the only business that they had at one time. And look at Easton now. And Utopia is still there. You should welcome any business whatsoever. It doesn't matter. I mean, I'm not even talking about the redevelopment. I read where the mayor was talking about Corliss Avenue and the fact that it's going to cost more to clean up than what the building is worth. You want to look at downtown again? You want to look down in the Chappelle Park area? Maybe that's where, like I said before, the redevelopment. Joe Miner had a great idea. I have to give him credit. See, Joe, he knows different colored crayons helps, doesn't he? He had a great idea, building in that area up, start there as a hub, the center of it, and build out. If you're going to put town hall there and build a parking garage and whatever, then start working down towards the bridge and outwards.
We're still on LMR though, right?
Well, it's, everything is together.
I know, but it is just about items on the
This
agenda.
town
so we can't-
was an industrial town to begin with. It's not all daisies and buttercups. You're not going to get it. You're not. And then the comparison about anything, about the few trucks that they have, like it was brought up, you've got garbage trucks sitting right across the street here. Nobody's complaining about them. Why are they complaining about LMR? They're out of sight, they're out of mind. Nobody thinks about them until you see them. And it seems kind of weird, somebody following them around. I mean, there's how many channels on TV? You could be home watching something else rather than following around a garbage truck. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Boyce, for your comments.
Bill Timmon, 230 South Main Street. And again, this is the number of vehicles, you know, not only the garbage trucks, LMR, the town's garbage trucks, the number of trucks that go into McWayne Ductile, the number of trucks that are going into Riverside Drive for the company back there, the Pro Lumber Yard that is down at Union Square and also back by General, yeah. I mean, you know, we've got trucks running through town. We've had them for the last 50 years, tractor trailers that are spewing noxious gases and what have you. You know, the buses that are going through are diesels. It's ridiculous to be picking on this one company when we probably have more trucks on South Main Street that are not involved in that business of hauling garbage, but the fact that they're servicing the factories on Howard Street, down at Riverside Drive, McWayne Ductile, and many, many other businesses in the town. And we're going to have to feed down South Main Street. You can't keep them off South Main. It's a New Jersey state highway. It's rated at 80,000 pounds. I mean, it's legal for them to go up and down the street. That's why when they rebuilt the Black Bridge, they were going to try and limit the tractor trailers going over that because of a potential weight. New Jersey says, no, you got to make it compatible so that it will accept the tractor trailer traffic. So, I mean, you know, for the last 50 years, we maybe have less trucks now than we had because we've lost some businesses. But you're still talking the same type of business conditions and the same noxious fumes as they may be, but diesel fumes are not as bad as gasoline engines because all of that diesel and the black soot you see ends up falling down. I mean, they're legal to run across the country, so why are we all of a sudden looking to limit
another company that has cleaned up basically a brownfield site to be utilized, and I guess they don't service the town, but they service the surrounding communities. Thank you.
Reggie Rayford, 390 Heckler Street, Planet Earth, Phillipsburg, New Jersey. It's good to see that there's not a lot of gray hairs in here. It's good to see the young people here, although I do see a few gray hairs. So those who are old like me will remember when the municipal building was downtown, and that was one big mistake that the town made. Moving the municipal building up on Roseberry Street, that was a major factor contributing to the deterioration of downtown. Now, that wasn't the only thing, but that was a major thing. Your downtown is where your municipal building should be, and that's where it was. So our town leaders made a major mistake. I have a car that gets 88 miles to a gallon. Now, you'll say, no. Well, if I plug it in every night, it's capable of getting 88 miles to a gallon. You got to drive it a certain way, but that's what it actually says on the sticker. 2016 Ford Fusion Hybrid, 88 miles per gallon. So the world is changing, and we have to think about the future of Phillipsburg. We have a wonderful opportunity down at the river to create an attraction, to create a focal point for Phillipsburg. We have an opportunity to bring some major ratables to Ingersoll Rand property. So we're all aware of that. I create garbage. I use garbage services, but I think LMR should be over there in Williams Township. That would be a good place where we already have garbage. Or up in Oxford at the county landfill. That's a good place for the LMR facility to be. Not in Phillipsburg, where we don't want to be a town with the image of being home to garbage trucks. Again, it's a very respectable business. I use garbage. I mean, I make garbage. I'm glad that the town picks it up. I'm glad a friend of mine just used an LMR container. But the right place for this is in Williams Township, where we already have a landfill. There's got to be some room over there, Shrin's property, or up, like I said, in Oxford. Thank you.
Mr. Rayburn, thank you very much for your comment.
David Morissette, 5 Fairview Heights, Phillipsburg, New Jersey. Thank you for letting me have the opportunity to address the council. And I'm going to be speaking to ordinance 2018-10A, I believe it is, the LMR ordinance. Or actually, it's the ordinance to modify the redevelopment plan to allow waste disposal trucks and waste disposal containers. I think everybody in this room really wants what's best for Phillipsburg. I really do. But I think there are many competing visions for the future and what we see Phillipsburg being down the road. Now, there are some things starting which I am so excited to see. And council, you have the ability, each and every one of you, to be part of a legacy of Phillipsburg and put some progress into Phillipsburg and some redevelopment and put Phillipsburg on the map in the future as a place that people want to come to. Now, LMR, I think, is a great company, as far as I know. I don't know the owner personally, but he seems like a nice guy. But the location of 40 trucks, round trip, per day, in an area where the ordinance limits it to 4 round trips per day per business is not appropriate. Additionally, the storage of the waste disposal containers is not appropriate. On South Main Street, where future redevelopment will hopefully eventually be coming, we're starting with a seed down by the river, down by Union Square. That seed will be planted, and hopefully that development will grow. Jobs will come into the area from that development. Phillipsburg will be a place that will be known where people want to come. People want to come and spend time. People want to walk on walking trails up by where the LMR location is going to be. Please make the right decisions. Please do not modify the development plan to allow waste disposal trucks and waste disposal storage containers to be stored there. The current waste disposal storage container issue, I understand from the council meetings, referred to waste disposal containers that would be stored at restaurants, not for mass storage. Thank you very much.
I'm Joe Miner. I live at 392 South Main Street in Phillipsburg, and I'm not talking about that ordinance. I'm going to talk about two others. I think I went to let everybody go first. Here it is, 2018-13. I had a problem. I could not download the present code. I don't have the right software, so I couldn't actually see. But I want to make sure that this isn't the piece of legislation that's eliminating the First Center from getting our full support. And I couldn't figure it. The thing that worries me is Section 92 Youth Center is eliminated. Is this the ordinance that is reducing support for the youth center or not?
Mr. Minor,
Yeah.
as stated last meeting, we don't have a shared services agreement with the Firth Youth Center, but we have not and haven't budgeted for $20,000 for the youth center, so we have not gotten rid of funding. But because we don't have a shared services agreement with the youth center, and we are redoing this ordinance, we are removing the language pertaining to the youth center. That's what this is.
But they were still going to get their $20,000 from some other place in the budget?
They just have to, well, it's in the same place. It's in the same place. It hasn't changed. They still have a $20,000 stipend.
Youth Center's getting $20,000.
That's correct.
With or without this thing?
That's correct.
I did have a question. Why are you doing this restructuring? But that's probably, I won't understand the answer either. 2018-14. Okay. I was reading this funding, and I hit this beginning class special tax rate shall be added to the total borough tax rate and the amount not to exceed, and here it is, 1, and then it says 2 cents. The 1 refers to 1 cent per 100. The 2 cents, I don't know what it refers to. 100 is $100. That's specified. And of the annual, and then here it is, assessment valuation and tax rate. Okay. I read this really straight. I tried to figure out what this is going to cost me if it was 1%. And then I was trying to figure out what it would cost me if it's 1/100th of 1%.
Mr. Minor?
What is it going to cost me?
Just not to cut you off, but this was on the ballot last year, and it did successfully pass. The voters had voted for this. So what you're addressing is the Open Space Committee. Am I right, Council?
Referendum.
The referendum.
But it's still something you have to approve or not approve, right?
No, sir. The voters have approved this, but we are approving of the committee. Yes.
The structure.
Right.
If I may.
Maybe you'll
Yes,
tell me,
please,
though,
Councilman
this is
Davis.
still an answer. Does this represent, now I figured out on my, if assessed valuation and assessment valuations are the same thing. This would be adding $2,200 to my taxes each year, which can't be correct. So I'm going to assume that it's 0.02%, which will, instead of dollars, which means it's only costing me $22 a year. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay, so it's costing me $22 a year. Thank you.
Mr. Minor, you're welcome. Councilman Davis, did you want to address Mr. Minor?
Do you need any further elucidation, Mr. Minor? Or are you good?
If it's over the hill and I can't do anything about it, I would think that such a thing, yeah, well, there was, but I felt it was over the hill, but I'll mention it. It seems like anything you want to do for space management in recreation, you could bring up one at a time without having any committee and without having any special trust fund. You could just do it as the council, one specific at a time. I think that would be a much better idea. But since you've already approved it, I'm too late. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Minor.
Frank Peeling, 237 Holly Avenue, Phillipsburg, New Jersey. Been in this town for 54 years, and I don't see a problem with MLR coming to this town. How they cleaned up the property back there, I give them a lot of credit. And for those guys to be exaggerating or all over Main Street, I see these guys come out of their lot and turn right and go down towards Trade Post and out. I hardly ever see them coming the other way. You want to talk about redevelopment? Carucci's project, 420 homes, that's 420 cars. If they're married, that's double. If they got kids, it's triple. How many cars are going to be on that road? You want to complain about his noise? What about the stink over there from Easton? What about the stink from the sewer plant in Phillipsburg? What about the choo-choo train horn every weekend that you can hear all over Phillipsburg? What about the pistol club shooting their guns every day? Then you complain about a couple trucks.
Is there any other further comment? There being none, we will close the public portion. After I do that, I would like to bring up Stan Schreck, the engineer, on this ordinance before we go ahead and vote. Should I motion for that, Council?
No, yes, that's it.
Right, Stan, would you mind coming up? Just to, yeah, on the more. This one here. How are you, Stan?
Hi, sir. How are you?
Doing well, thank you. Don't call me sir.
I said, you just want to talk about the site plan process?
Yes, what we just listened to. Just about every question or comment that came up regarding LMR pertains to site plan. If you look through our ordinance, we have regulations on traffic. We have what we call the nuisance ordinance as a general term that pertains to odor, noise, lighting, hours of operation, etc. What the council's doing tonight is approving a use within the redevelopment zone District 6 to permit the storage of waste containers. LMR still needs site plan approval. They have to come and address every aspect, every item that you're talking about. And it's an opportunity that the board can look at this use and try to make a site plan that may just possibly work, and try to find a balance between what the issues are, the well-perceived issues, and come up with a viable plan. Not saying that they would pass it or not, but we're still waiting to get a site plan submitted from LMR. But all of these questions that came up really don't pertain to council this time. They are planning board issues. And if the use is approved, expect to have an application before planning board shortly.
Thank you, Mr. Schreck. I appreciate your time. Okay, we will move forward with ordinance number 2018-10-A, with the amendments and ordinance amending the code of the town of Phillipsburg by amending the Riverfront Redevelopment Plan, Section 3.9, entitled District 6 Riverside Commercial, to permit the storage of waste disposal containers and trucks in said zone.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
Yes, I do.
Yes, sir.
In the very beginning, when LMR came up, wasn't it they can store containers back there and they were going to use the big garage to do the mechanical work on the thing? Nothing about trucks back there all the time, is that true?
That's...
Am I right or wrong?
No.
No?
No, the mechanic is part of the business, yes.
Right, so they'd be working on them.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Vice President?
Yeah, just briefly. A couple comments, because there were some concerns about noise. So I'm going to address that on approximately the 88 decibels that were referenced at the last meeting. So my research shows me it also applies to lawnmowers, snow blowers, food blenders, and garbage disposals and dishwashers, and car washes, which nobody seems to be debating across the street from a housing development. So, just as noisy, I think, would be the dump that sits right behind it. And I can tell you, I live right next to garbage trucks that come every Tuesday morning at 3:30 a.m. in a development right next to my house. Now, it was a little disturbing at first. You know what I do now? I close my window and it doesn't bother me at all. So I don't hear it inside my house. Third, Elmar doesn't know this, but of course I did my research because, as we all know, that's what I like to do. I'm going to give this man an enormous amount of props, and he doesn't know I know this, but his company experienced a tragedy, and I happen to be from a resident of this town. And that was in the Evans family, and I happen to know that family, and this gentleman took extremely good care of one of our residents, and that means a lot to me. This man cares about his employees, and I don't believe he'd put them in harm. I don't think he'd put our town employees at harm. I don't think he'd put residents in harm. So I am 200% in favor of anybody that I see go above and beyond the call of duty as an employer who would take care of their employees that way. And like I said, this was an enormous tragedy to this family, and they are such a good family. So thank you for being a good business.
Anything else, Council Vice President?
No, I'm good.
Councilman Davis?
Yeah, I originally endorsed this because I was confused about whether we had received a report from the planning board. I'm going to modify my vote to no this evening purely on, not on LMR being a good neighbor or the business they conduct, but the actual business is currently not permitted based on the trucking ordinance. We have, as a council, denied or sent back permits for taxis and requesting whether they have parking spaces, and we've held landlords to the letter of the law in terms of their requirements. I don't think it's fair, based on the letter of the law, to create a special exception in the redevelopment plan. If we are going to do that, I think we need to also modify our other ordinances which regulate trucking as a business on South Main Street. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman McVeigh?
What's the old adage? You gotta clean up your own backyard before you start pointing fingers?
Yes, sir.
All right. We got a lot of cleanup going on. My phone, my email, which I'll get into open time, doesn't stop all day long. There's a lot going on. Redevelopment's nice. It was mentioned tonight about seeds. Well, when you got a seed in the ground, nothing's going to happen if the sunshine and water doesn't come. The sunshine and water are called stakeholders. LMR is a stakeholder. Businesses come and go. Stakeholders are rare. J&J New Brunswick stayed. They built around that. They're pulling all over. Look at Jersey City. It was a dump. They built around that down in Newport. Businesses stayed. Stakeholders stayed. So with that being said, we can work together. Stakeholders and seeds and new businesses will grow together as soon as we start taking care of also what's going on in this town. That's very, very important about the proposal. However the outcome goes, I know I'll be voting yes, and if the vote does go through, I'll be one of the first ones to shake the owner's hand to welcome him to Phillipsburg.
Few comments. We've had a discussion back and forth about the trucking ordinance, and I made an observation myself with the Thomas the Train and us using the Class B buses to go back and forth to transport passengers. And I would defer to Councilman Lutz. Councilman Lutz, when they are Class B, correct? B bus drivers? And it's, because I've done my research, because she does her research, they're 10,000 pounds without passengers. That equals to 5 tons, right? Right. So our ordinance is no vehicles over 5 tons on the road. So when we start placing passengers on those buses, there's over 5 tons on the road, correct? Do they go back and forth to pick up patrons more than 4 round trips per day? They do. And that is right in the redevelopment zone, and the very zone that everyone argued should stay because the train is a vital source for our community, a vital tourist attraction. No one said, let's shut down the buses, let's get them out of there, they're burning diesel fuel. No. We're busing everybody over to the train. Now, I did not know of LMR before I took a seat here on council, and I heard that the inspector was on their property, and then all of a sudden I started hearing more and more about LMR. And then the owner, when a 92-year-old veteran was attempting to get a roof, the owner had addressed the council that evening and had offered his services for free. There's not a lot of that going around Phillipsburg today. Seems like somebody always wants something in return. I reached out to Mr. Collintrell. I got to know him. I don't know him on a personal level. I don't know his wife's name or his children's names. What I can say is, just through my short discussion with him after I thanked him for what he's done for some of the veterans in our community, his exact words and his exact comments to me were, whatever the veterans need, I'll take care of it. That is the kind of business and neighbor I want here in the town of Phillipsburg. You argue with me over LMR or Starbucks, I'm going to choose LMR every day of the week. And that's all I have to say. With that being said, because this is a second reading, we do have to close it and open it up to a public hearing. So can I get a motion to close it open for public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Lutz?
Yes.
Councilman Davis?
Yes.
Council Vice President DeGirolamo?
Yes.
Councilman McVeigh?
Yes.
Council President Phillipsburg?
Yes. So we open to the public. We can then motion to close.
Wait.
Ma'am?
Open to the public?
Yes, ma'am, for public hearing. It's on this vote, yes, ma'am. Just state your name and address for the record,
My
please.
name's Andy Marino Capello. I live at 676 Oakland Boulevard. I just want to say that I don't know the right answer, but I do want to say that comparing twice a year for Thomas the Tank and 40 trucks a day is a little bit different. So I think that everybody needs to hear that Thomas the Tank is twice a year. This is every day. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for your comment.
Motion to close.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Lutz?
Yes.
Councilman Davis?
Yes.
Council Vice President DeGirolamo?
Yes.
Councilman McVeigh?
Yes.
Council President Phillipsburg?
Yes. Okay, we will now vote. Council, you said you had a...
Yes, Council President, thank you. I have 2 amendments, and no one's going to want to hear me say this, because if you go with the amendments, you're going to have a third bite at the apple on this ordinance, because we'll have to renotice, because in my opinion, the amendments would be considered substantial. And that is as it relates to waste disposal truck, the definition of waste disposal truck, the word residential, should be stricken from that, so the definition should read, "A vehicle used for collecting and hauling refuse, not limited to residential refuse." That was the intention of the council. And the title itself should be amended to read, "An ordinance amending the code of the town of Phillipsburg by amending the riverfront redevelopment plan, Section 3.2 entitled Definitions and Section 3.9 entitled District 6, Riverside Commercial, to permit storage of waste disposal containers and trucks in the zone." So if it's adopted as amended, if you accept those amendments, then we'll renotice it again for the August 3rd? 7th? 7th. Yeah.
You're the lawyer.
I'll make the motion to adopt as amended, well, motion to amend, as according to the councilor's comments.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Lutz?
Yes.
Councilman Davis?
Yes.
Council Vice President DeGrom?
Yes.
Councilman McVeigh?
Yes.
Council President Polk?
Yes.
All right, so we're gonna have it on for the third and final reading, hopefully third and final reading, August 7th.
Do we need to?
We still need to.
Approve as amended?
Yeah, approve as amended, yes.
So a motion
Third
to.
line of the date, August 7th.
August 7th. So a motion to approve ordinance number 2018-10A as amended.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Lutz?
Yes.
Councilman Davis?
No.
Council Vice President DeGrom?
Yes.
Councilman McVeigh?
Yes.
Council President Polk?
Yes. Ordinance number 2018-10A with the amendments. An ordinance amending the town code of Phillipsburg by amending the riverfront redevelopment plan 3.9 entitled District 6 Riverside Commercial to permit storage of waste disposal containers and trucks in the zone has successfully passed and will be read third time with the amendments on August 7th. Thank you. And now we have ordinances for our first reading, which would be ordinance number 2018-13. This is the amendment and ordinance of the town of Phillipsburg, county of Warren, state of New Jersey, deleting and replacing Chapter 5, Administration of Government, Article 12, Department of Recreation, Section 91, Recreation Advisory Committee of the Code of the town of Phillipsburg, and deleting 92, the Youth Center.
So moved.
We do. Right.
So moved to open the table.
We need a second on the motion.
So we need a second, Josh, motion.
Second.
Roll call. I'm sorry, discussion.
Yeah. Council President, it appears that most of the changes we made in the previous meeting were adopted, and Councilor, thank you very much for that. One more thing that I think we missed, just as a administrative function, is in terms of identifying the two class members. I believe we should probably give the option to our youth clubs to send their representatives annually, and they're not disambiguated that way. I think we need to just further amend it a little bit to specify that the Class B members will be sent by a resolution from the youth club members annually, and the Class A members will follow those as specified in term of office 593.
Okay, so you want to, okay.
So actually,
Everyone understand that? So the Class A members have the staggered terms, right? And then the Class B members will be recycled annually. So every year, it could be the same Class B member, whoever it is. The youth center recommends or chooses, provided they pass the background check, will be appointed to the advisory committee annually.
right, so I actually had written that down, Councilman, for debate, because I would like to see Section 592 be amended to remove the quote-unquote rostering of 50 more youth athletes, and that each youth organization committee shall advise, apologize for the noise, each youth organization committee shall advise council as to the choice representative, and council shall so appoint said representative subject to the requirements of 592A. While I believe that every organization should have representation, given the history that we have seen here in town, I do believe that council should reserve the ability to override the organization's decision if the majority finds in good cause.
Noted and respected, Council President, I think we would have to come up with a very specific set of qualitative or quantitative methods for determining what good cause is, solely so that our successors have guidance based on what we are establishing in this ordinance, as well as ensuring that there's not unfair bias towards any members of the community.
Totally agree. With that being said, is there anybody else from the panel that has any discussion on this ordinance?
It's point of privilege, Council President. Mind if I
Yes,
move the
sir.
speaker for a little bit? I think that's what that speaker's point in my microphone.
Oh, sure, go ahead, absolutely. You're going to explain to me what point of privilege means after we're done here.
I'm going to try not to break it.
PFP.
Thank you. Anyone else on the panel have discussion?
Would you like to table this and move it to a work session so we can iron that out, so we're not amending every time we're reading?
I do believe that would be the best course of action.
Motion to table.
Second.
Roll call vote, Vicki.
Councilman Lutz?
Yes.
Councilman Davis?
Yes.
Vice President Giralamo?
Yes.
Councilman McVeigh?
Yes.
Council President Colbert?
Yes.
I just need to put that on another section.
Okay, so we move the ordinance number 2018-13, ordinance of the town of Phillipsburg, County of Warren, State of New Jersey, Government Article 12, Department of Recreation, Section 191, Recreation Advisory Committee of the Code of the Town of Phillipsburg, and deleting Section 92 Youth Center has been successfully tabled until the next work session. The next is the ordinance 2018-14. This is the first reading, an ordinance of the town of Phillipsburg entitled Open Space.
So moved.
Second?
Discussion?
Yes. I'd like to move to table this. I have an enormous problem with Section B. The whole purpose of this, when it was approved, was so we could work on our existing recreation, our fields, and get everything that's in disarray taken care of. Section B is purpose and utilization of funds. The funds shall be used for the purchase of property rights within the town of Phillipsburg. I am not in favor of that as it's written at all. Secondly, duties and functions all revolve around taking people's property and buying it. And the concluding review of the open space says, in the event there's no acquisition of property financed under this chapter for a period of 5 years, the town council shall conduct a review, issue a report with conclusions continuing the continuation of the open space. So to me, all this talks about is taking property and new property, not taking care of what we have. And that is not the intent that I was under the impression of. So if it goes this way, I'll vote no.
I will second your motion to table until the next work session. Roll call vote, Vicki?
Council President, may I debate?
We can't debate during a motion to table.
Okay, go ahead.
Councilman Lutz?
Yes.
Councilman Davis?
Yes.
Council Vice President Giralamo?
Yes.
Councilman McVeigh?
Yes.
Council President Colbert?
Yes. Ordinance number 2018-14, ordinance of the town of Phillipsburg entitled Open Space has been successfully tabled to the next work session. Ordinance number 2018-15, a bond ordinance providing for various 2018 capital improvements by and in the town of Phillipsburg in the county of Warren, state of New Jersey, appropriating $1,758,100, therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $1,670,195 in bonds or notes of the town to finance part of the cost thereof.
Pardon me, Council President. There is a point of information regarding the ordinance that we just tabled. Just a point of information.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, sure, thanks. Mayor, I don't know if you've spoken, Bob. Prior to the passage of this ordinance, are we not currently collecting the funds into the trust fund until we adopt an ordinance governing it?
We're not. The ordinance has to be adopted before we can start collecting. One concern I have is that if we wait too long, the tax will look a lot larger than it really is. In other words, it won't be 2 cents, it'll be 4 or 6 cents.
Thank you.
Just a rebuttal from down here. I did ask about this in January, and I was told it'll be coming, so it didn't come until July when I asked in January.
Okay, we're not going to debate any further, we're going to save it for the work session. Moving forward, I did read the ordinance 2018-15. I get a motion. You want me to read that whole thing again? No. All right. Ordinance number 2018-15. I'm just teasing. If you want me to read it again, I will.
So moved.
I will second up for discussion. This is, Mayor, can you explain the bond ordinance that we're looking at here?
I can, Council President. This bond ordinance will cover such projects as construction of roads, repaving, resurfacing, repairs of sanitary sewer breaks, sanitary sewer collection breaks. It'll also cover projects such as the new library roof, any major capital construction, unlike normal DPW day-to-day work. Everything here has been accounted for. There is a list of the capital projects. If you would like to see them, I am sure they're readily available.
I have it.
There you go.
I'm not surprised.
It's a very,
It's changed.
it's a very common.
It changed.
So we're in debate. I mean, if the mayor's, Mayor, you finished?
Yeah.
Councilwoman, you have the floor.
No, Mark went first.
Mark, I apologize.
Nope, right in. But it has changed since the budget.
So this has changed since the budget was adopted, and I believe that's why it states in here that the budget needs to be adjusted to accommodate this. The amount has gone up, and the projects have changed. Honestly, we were okay with this when we adopted the budget. My problem is the budget was adopted last year, a bond was adopted last year, and the work didn't get done. I'm not confident it's going to get done. No, it was 2017, and it's in reference specifically to things that were allocated that just didn't happen on the last one last year.
Council President? There are many projects, and if Stan is still here, he could attest to that we just can't get done for bidding reasons and/or backups with contractors. They just, if we ask them to pave Ekman Street and they say we're out of asphalt, we're out of time, it gets carried over to the next year. But the most important thing, Councilman DiGirolamo, is that it still stays intact. The money stays there until the project is done. And the priority from the year before will become the next year's priority. It doesn't go away.
So when are we going to take care of things that were promised last year?
We just got our price back for the library. Up, I see Mr. Schreck back there.
Council President?
Thank you, Mr. Schreck.
We have two grants for Ekman Street Phase 1 and 2. I think you're aware of that. We also have a grant for Phase 3, pending application for Phase 4. Phase 1 was awarded last year, or rather, the grant was obtained last year, and the capital budget was appropriated at that time to do that. So that's part of what you see of the work that did not get done. Having received the grant for Phase 2, we thought it was best, I did discuss with the council, that we combine Phase 1 and 2 to achieve an economy of scale with a much larger project. However, now we need the money to do that, and we need the capital money for this year to be able to do that. We received bids 2 weeks ago for Phase 1 and 2, but we can't award until we know the ordinance is in place. So that's a major part of the past work from last year that did not get done. I think this year you're seeing the library, we talked about the library.
Yes.
And we also asked for funding for our portion of the mill overlays that are associated with all utility work that was done from both Aqua and the gas company.
There it is.
So that's on it also. But I think the big delta that you're talking about is not spending the money for Ekman Street last year.
No, it was actually the recreation fields.
Oh, I told you about roads.
Yeah. No, None at all. So, I'm done.
Further discussion?
No, not from me.
Councilman Davis, anything?
No, I have no concerns.
Councilman Gray?
Good, sir.
I have nothing as well. Council Vice President, you're good on this? You don't want to investigate further?
No, I can see the difference.
Okay. Let's roll call vote.
Councilman Lutz?
Yes.
Councilman Davis?
Yes.
Council Vice President DeGirolamo?
Yes.
Councilman McVeigh?
Yes.
Council President Polk?
Yes.
Thank
Ordinance
you,
number
Council.
2018-15, bond ordinance providing for various 2018 capital improvements by and in the town of Phillipsburg and county of Warren, state of New Jersey, appropriating $1,758,100. Therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $1,670,195 bonds or notes of the town to finance part of the cost thereof has successfully passed. Moving forward, we have ordinance number 2018-16, also a first reading bond ordinance repealing and replacing bond ordinance number 2017-3, finally adopting April 18, 2017, and providing for the renovation and conversion of the Armory into a public safety building to house the police, fire, and emergency management departments by and in the town of Phillipsburg and the town and county of Warren, state of New Jersey, appropriating $3,211,000, therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $3,058,450 of bonds or notes to the town to finance part of the cost thereof.
So moved.
Second. Discussion.
Motion to table.
Second.
You're going to debate, right? Roll call vote, Vicky?
Yes.
Councilman Lutz?
Is there a reason why it's being tabled, may I ask?
I'll answer.
Please.
Last 6 months, I've seen a lot of folks come up here that are not part of the town to have interest, as we saw tonight. A few people get up and speak. I know the mayor's here, and you are in charge of the town, sir. But this involves, and we've been in executive session regarding some of the things that had to be in executive session. We have some, I mentioned the word before, stakeholders. Well, let's talk about stakeholders within our own town. And I think they should be here tonight, department heads, chiefs of police, others that are involved in this $3 million ordinance or bond proposal that I think that can easily come up and discuss the need for that, and there is appropriate need for that. I think we all know that, but I would like to afford our public maybe to hear that from them and maybe even ask questions to that to assure our constituents that it's just not 5 people making a decision on $3 million. It's, I think that I would like to get those folks in here, your staff, sir, to come in here and talk, to allow our constituents to hear it, and we can all be satisfied going to bed at night that whatever that decision is going to be, that it's the right decision. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Roll call vote, Vicky.
Councilman Lutz?
Yes.
Councilman Davis?
Yes.
Council Vice President DeGirolamo?
Yes.
Councilman McVeigh?
Yes.
Council President Polk?
Yes. Ordinance number 2018-16, first reading bond ordinance repealing and replacing bond ordinance number 2017-3, finally adopted April 18, 2017, providing for the renovation, conversion of the Armory and the public safety building to the House Police, Fire, and Emergency Management Departments by the town of Phillipsburg, the county of Warren, state of New Jersey, appropriating $3,211,000, therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $3,050,450,000 bonds or notes to the town thereof. We're good. Like to put that on for that's a lot to read. We're going to put that on for the next meeting. Again, Mayor, I would request that on behalf of Councilman McVeigh, that Chief Stetner be present at the next meeting. I think Councilman Davis is right. It's that
I would, to include anyone in the OEM besides, or Office of Emergency Management.
Not a problem. I do believe Engineer Schreck will agree with me. They have prepared reports that were done in executive session, both Chief Hay and Chief Stetner, and they'd be more than happy to come up and report to council and the residents on the need for the new municipal building for the police and OEM. I just want to share one thing with council, the council president, is that we are under the gun by the New Jersey Department of Health to vacate that building. So the sooner the better, even a special meeting if we could. Understood, thank you.
Would the next meeting that we have is August 7th. We want to do it August 7th? Is that too far away? How under the gun are we?
We're under the gun. I mean, that's why
When did this happen?
Councilwoman Danielle DiGirolamo had brought up the fees for the air cleaning devices. They're upstairs running, they're in the basement running, they're in the main floor running. We could save money for the town. If it could be moved up, I am sure the emergency services would appreciate it, but I also appreciate Councilman McVeigh's concern for the public. They should hear it. I don't believe it's 3.5. I believe that money was appropriated to make sure we didn't overrun. I think the number's really 2.1, so it goes back. And I think Mr. Schreck wants to speak to this.
We're on target to award a contract in September based on getting bids out at the end of this month. I don't think delaying until the next meeting is going to be a problem in that regard. I think the timeline still holds. So I agree we should go public. We're going to have to redact some of the drawings for security reasons, but...
If Council President,
Please.
Sir, I did say we had an executive session, and obviously that there was a reason for that, and I'm sure the very proud department heads in Chief Stenner and Chief A and anyone else involved that's going to be stepping in that building would love for them to speak. I know I have full confidence in them coming up and doing that. It's just...
Sure, we all work very hard to get to this point. So
yes, we know that.
I think we can still maintain the timeline that we discussed 6 months ago.
Yes, sir. I'm just trying to avoid being screamed at and shot right. That's what I'm trying to do here, so thank you.
Thank you very much.
Just one more question.
Vice President?
When we have that, can we also get do we have a assessment of the armory, of what it's valued at presently? I know the argument against Corliss Avenue renovation has been it's only worth this much and it's going to cost this much to renovate. I'd like to know if the building I'm renovating is only worth $200,000.
Council President? There is an assessment on it. It is a very valuable building because of its location next to Route 22. Some people argue it should have been sold for housing and or other purposes, but we kept it as a DPW. I will have our tax assessor send on to the entire council the estimated value of that property.
Thank you. And that's just the armory building, not the building behind it.
Okay.
Okay. The next is ordinance 2018-17. First reading ordinance of the town of Phillipsburg, County of Warren, New Jersey, adopting additional amendments to the revised Phillipsburg Commercial Park redevelopment plan for the former Ingersoll Rand property commonly known as Block 3201, Lot 7.01, 702, 703, 704, 705, 706, 707, 708, 709, 710, 711, 712, and 713, Block 3301, Lots 124, 401, and 5 and 6.
So moved.
Second. Discussion.
I would like to have discussion. Counselor, if you could, just for edification, is the only amendment that contained within this ordinance the striking of the need to provide recreational facilities?
No.
Okay.
Nope, it's the need to provide, and then it should be on, it doesn't cost come out.
There's a list.
Way as well. There's an addition regarding parking. Bear with me.
Correct.
Pull it up. It is D, where it's the first paragraph of parking, regarding parking and loading. The proposed amendment shall now read, we'll move through the whole thing. Parking and loading facilities in the redevelopment area will be provided in accordance with the Phillipsburg zoning ordinance. The total number of parking spaces on any given parcel in the redevelopment area will not exceed 105% of the base requirement. This is what's proposed to be added, this one sentence. The maximum number of loading facilities shall not exceed one space per 3,000 square feet of gross floor area. parking department will be adjusted by the planning board during the site plan review process based on the parking needs analysis prepared by the redeveloper. So that's the proposed addition, is that calculation of the loading facilities based upon the square footage of the gross floor area. And then, as Councilman Davis pointed out, the striking of providing recreation opportunities. Okay.
Yeah, that's correct. The ordinance, when it was written, did not fully anticipate what the size of these buildings and how they're going to be laid out. We really should have picked this up during the GDP, the General Development Plan Review. But with the ordinance not permitting more than 105% of the base ordinance, the number of loading facilities wouldn't be possible for these types of buildings that are put up. So that's why we're making that recommendation.
I have no objection to the change in loading facilities. My concern is I know we're still under some negotiations with Bridge regarding the recreational portion. I'm hesitant to remove that requirement until we have an agreement written and signed by both parties with the new realization of what that recreational requirement will be. So my suggestion my request to council would be to either strike that portion from the redevelopment plan temporarily until we have that discussed and finalized, and adopt the secondary portion in the redevelopment plan.
And I concur. We can still move forward with the current plans before the planning board now for 3 buildings and incorporate what's required under the GDP for recreation and have continued discussions later with regard to that.
No, so is the proposal to leave, so undo the striking of recreation?
Correct.
Opportunities? Okay.
So we're accomplishing one item tonight, and that's
Okay.
to adjust the park.
So just so the council's aware that it's on, item
With that, we
C,
can continue with planning board application.
regarding green space, where you have the striking of providing recreation opportunities as a proposed amendment. If you were to adopt Councilman Davis's suggestion, which is supported by Stan, that provision would remain.
The green space paragraph stays as
Stays the same.
ordinance.
Right, and you're only amending D, which is parking and loading.
Is there any other discussion before I make the motion to amend?
The only thing, I remember from last year this coming up, and there were a lot of meetings and quite a bit of discussion held by the people that lived in the community that were very much opposed to any kind of recreation happening up there. Am I recollecting that right or wrong?
That's correct.
Yeah, Councilwoman, the plan that you have now as a planning board member does not show recreation in that location.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't show that, but based on,
That was on resident feedback back
that
when.
was resident feedback, so they listened to it, it's
Prior.
not there. However, with the redevelopment plan as written under green space, they have to come back to the planning board and show it somewhere on the site, not necessarily where those 3 buildings are going to be that you're going to hear next week, but they'll have to show it someplace before when they come to the meeting.
Actually not going to be there, so I'll call you.
I'll tell you.
Councilman, I agree with you.
Sure. Yes, I
did see it writing, so.
Yeah, my concern is that we currently have an obligation and investment into our recreational facilities, and let's say, while I have full faith in Bridge, my interactions with Opus have taught me anything, it's to shake hands, but make sure you get it in writing at the same time. Was that trust but verify? I think it's right. Yes. So until such time that we have, I'll make the motion to amend the ordinance as detailed.
Second. Roll call.
Councilman Lutz?
Yes.
Councilman Davis?
Yes.
Council Vice President DeGrom?
Yes.
Councilman McVeigh?
Yes.
Council President Polk?
Yes. Ordinance for 2018-17, ordinance in the town of Phillipsburg, County of Warren, New Jersey, adopting additional amendments to the revised Phillipsburg Commerce Park redevelopment plan for the former Ingersoll Rand property, commonly known as Block 3201, Lots 71 through 712, 13, Block 3301, Lots 1 through 6, has been passed as amended. See, that almost tabled it. Passed as amended.
Council President? Yeah.
Amended.
As a point of privilege to you, when we have a motion, just so save your vocal cords, you can just report. You're allowed to report just on the the success or failure of the underlying motion. You don't have to repeat the name of the
I
ordinance.
spent years watching Podger stick me up here.
You don't have to do that.
County of Warren, State of New Jersey. Okay, so we can go ahead and move forward to motion to accept as amended 2018-17.
Second. Or so moved, whatever you need.
I believe it was already moved, so we can just vote.
Roll call.
Councilman Lutz?
Yes.
Councilman Davis?
Yes.
Council Vice President DeGirolamo?
Yes.
Councilman McVeigh?
Yes.
Council President Polk?
Yes. Ordinance number 2018-17 is passed as amended.
All right, next one on for the 7th as well.
Yes, 7 as well.
Are you on the work session to vote?
It's not a work session,
Oh, it's a
it's a regular meeting. So, all right, first readings are done, we then go to new business. Councilman Lutz.
Nothing, thank you.
Council Vice President.
I think we have an appointment we'd like to make. Would we do that under new business?
You can do
Yes.
whatever you want under new business.
That's
Council
my
Vice
notes.
President.
Let me find it, it's all the way in the back. So we got a letter of, actually, we got two letters. Phillipsburg Housing Authority, attention Vicki Kleiner, please be advised, 5-year term of Jim Shelley, appointed to the Phillipsburg Town Council, appointed by the Phillipsburg Town Council as a commissioner for the Housing Authority, expires August 1st. Mr. Shelley has completed all required courses in New Jersey Housing Authority training program prescribed by NJSA 40A 12-A-46 and is eligible for reappointment as per state law. Please see the attached letter of interest from Mr. Shelley, and there is a letter attached expressing his interest to be reappointed. So I will make a motion to reappoint Jim Shelley to the Phillipsburg Housing Authority.
I'll second.
Is there discussion? How many letters, I just have one question, how many letters did we receive?
I only have one in my packet.
Roll call vote, Vicki.
Councilman Lutz?
Yes.
Councilman Davis?
Yes.
Council Vice President DeGirolamo?
Yes.
Councilman McVeigh?
Yes.
Council President Polk?
Yes. Jim.
Go with it.
Congratulations, Mr. Shelley. You have no other?
I have nothing else. Not for new business.
Councilman?
I'm good, thank you.
Councilman McVeigh?
I'm good, sir.
Okay, Mayor, I did get a request from you. Do you want me to proceed?
I do.
Okay, so the mayor did submit to me on July 13th a request for, a formal request via email for special counsel, which I will read his request. I just need to make sure that I'm not violating anything, and I'm not. So it says, it's addressed to the town attorney, but it was also addressed to me as well. As you may know, the council president and the mayor's office has had discussions regarding the need to move the personnel files from the BA's office to the clerk's office per ordinance number 2018-11. This ordinance was written by yourself and passed by town council without the mayor's input, review, or request. The mayor's office therefore found the need to further investigate both its legality, coming in the back door, quote unquote, and whether the requirement exists, which has been presented even exists. Having concluded my research, it is clear that a difference of opinion exists. The mayor's office has been advised that the above referenced ordinance is in direct conflict with the Faulkner Act, as well as clearly established obligations that the mayor, pursuant to Article 3, Office of the Mayor, Section 5-16, my supervision of the departments of the municipal government and the employees that work for the town of Phillipsburg require personnel records to be under my custody and control. The mayor's office has additionally been advised by an expert labor attorney that should the mayor follow the direction of an improperly authorized, thus illegal ordinance, it exposes both the mayor and the town to liability. The mayor's office is making a request to the town council to authorize special counsel to represent the best interest of the town and its citizens relating to the questionable actions taken by both yourself and the town council in adopting ordinances such as Ordinance 2018-11. Therefore, the mayor's office is formally requesting that the town council approve the appointment of special counsel under section 5-40 of the administrative code to assist us all in determining the validity of this and other similar ordinances in a proper judicial forum. Please respond by Tuesday, July 17, 2013, concerning my request. Respectfully submitted, the Honorable Stephen R. Ellis, Mayor. And I have a motion to adopt the resolution allowing the mayor to seek special counsel of his choosing. I would say at this time not to exceed the amount of $5,000 to determine the validity of the council's adoption of specific ordinances and resolutions. I'll motion for it. Is there a second, please?
I'll second.
Discussion. Do you mind if I reply first?
You made the motion, you have that privilege.
Thank you. I thought about it, and I had, Mayor, in your letter, you, to your town attorney, and before I proceed, Ms. Kleiner, I didn't properly rights notice you, and I apologize. Would you waive that right? If you don't, I can wait till the next meeting.
I'll waive it.
Is that right? I forgot, and I apologize. Mayor, in your letter, you state that the town attorney had written and devised ordinance 2018-11, which in truth is not exactly accurate, not completely accurate. While the attorney's office may have devised the writing of ordinance 2018-11, they merely reversed a prior ordinance in 2016, which would have been ordinance 2016-18, that had changed the town code to remove the files from the clerk's office and provide them to the business administrator. In fact, when I went back to review the video, it was on July 5th, 2016. This specific ordinance was motioned by Councilman Davis and seconded by Councilman Lutz and passed by a vote of 4-0 with Councilman Fay being absent. To be clear, there was no objection when this ordinance was proposed and then subsequently passed. In fact, there was no argument made referring to the Faulkner Act as to being the reason for this change. You then had made a statement in this letter that you were advised that the ordinance was in direct violation of the Faulkner Act, as well as clearly established obligations that, pursuant to Article 3 of the Office of the Mayor, Section 516 of the Town Code. Would you care to let us know who had advised you of this?
A private attorney.
It was a private attorney?
It was a private attorney.
So, okay, and you don't want to give us the private attorney's name, correct?
No, I do not.
Okay. So then, in your letter, you proceed to make reference to an excerpt from Section 5-16B of the Town Code by stating that my supervision of the departments of the municipal government and the employees that work for the town of Phillipsburg require personal records to be under your custody and control. Now, you did not specify Section 5-16A of the Town Code reads, "The mayor shall enforce the charter and ordinances of the town and all general laws applicable thereto." With the passage of Ordinance 2018-11 becoming law, it is the mayor's duty, in my opinion, as per the code and charter, to acknowledge and enforce this ordinance and all ordinances and resolutions passed by council as mayors have done so in the past. To date, this still has not happened and has been ignored. Also in your letter, you refer to being advised by an expert labor attorney that told you that you were following the direction of an improperly authorized, thus illegal ordinances, which exposed both the mayor and the town to liability. My question is, again, do you wish to divulge the expert labor attorney that you had spoken with?
No, I do not.
Okay.
That was a private conversation. As I saw it, I researched the issue in question. As you know, we both have a difference of opinion on it, and no different than you would call the town attorney. I reached out to my private attorney.
Understood.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not being disrespectful.
Yeah,
Just
no, I
stating that debate.
understand.
More effectively stating the municipal charter of the strong mayor form of government, which is the Faulkner Act, under Title 4069A-36, clearly states that, and without ambiguity, that the legislative power of the municipality shall be exercised by the municipal council, and that legislative power shall be exercised by ordinance, except for the exercise of those powers that under this plan of government or general law do not require an action by the mayor as a condition of approval for the exercise thereof, and may therefore be exercised by resolution. Also, under this form of government, the mayor reserves the right to veto any ordinance that council passes, and in turn, the council is permitted the statutory right to override the veto as long as they do so with 2/3 of the governing body voting to override, which in this case requires at least 4 out of 5 votes. This specific ordinance that we've addressed in this letter was vetoed by you and was successfully overridden 5-0 by this council. In my opinion, there was no impropriety or illegality involved in this process, which would require the need for special counsel, as the charter and code, again, in my opinion, were adhered to properly. I can point to one ordinance and 3 resolutions most recently that were passed in 2016 and 2017 with 0 argument of a Faulkner Act violation. But now it seems that when we try and reverse those, we are left to wonder why all of a sudden the Faulkner Act argument has reared its head. The Faulkner Act argument. This governing body does reserve the right to overturn and rewrite the statute as we deem appropriate, as long as we have adhered to the municipal charter and the law, all of which was completed without issue. Again, referring to the New Jersey State Statute, Title 40A, Municipalities and Counties, Section 40A 9-133 of the Municipal Clerk Appointment and her duties. 40A 9-133, Section E7 states, "The municipal clerk shall perform such other duties as are now and hereafter imposed by statute, regulation, or by municipal ordinance or regulation." This means that the ordinance we vetoed, Ordinance 2018-11, designating the municipal clerk as a holder of personal history files and personnel records, including the previous resolutions passed in February, reversing the 2016 and 2017 decisions to remove the duties from the clerk, are, if not followed, the actual violations by writing of the municipal charter, which is the Faulkner Act, as has been specified above. And it's based upon this that my vote to provide you with special counsel to argue a point that in my mind is so clear and easily obtainable by reading the code is going to be no. And I will pass that on to Councilman Lutz for any further debate.
We did get a feedback from our attorney on this, and I'm going to vote no against that.
Council Vice President.
No comment.
Councilman Davis.
One point of information, Counselor, do we even have the right as a council to appoint special counsel directly? My recollection of the law is that the recommendation for special counsel has to come from you in terms of conflict of interest.
Yes, if I believe a conflict of interest exists, then...
Yeah, so are we allowed to appoint special counsel without...
With the advice and consent of the council, the special counsel gets appointed upon my recommendation.
Okay, so, but the recommendation has to come from you as the town attorney?
In consultation with the mayor, yes.
Okay, have you recommended the appointment of special counsel in this matter?
No, because I don't believe a conflict exists.
And also, just as a point of order, I don't want to interrupt you, Council President, but as the maker of the motion, you're not supposed to be able to speak out against the motion, so...
You told me I was allowed to speak first.
I didn't know what you were going to say.
Surprise.
Yeah. Other than that, that's all.
I did so respectfully. I didn't feel I was disrespectful.
No, I didn't say it. Just pointing out the rules are the rules.
Understood. Councilman McVeigh.
I want to first thank Clerk Kleiner for waiving so we can have an open discussion on this. This is very an exhausting topic for me. No.
Okay. Roll call vote. Vicki?
Councilman Lutz?
No.
Councilman Davis?
No.
Council Vice President DeGirolamo?
No.
Councilman McVeigh?
No.
Council President Polk?
No. So that was the end of new business. Moving forward, there is a vetoed ordinance, which is ordinance number 2018-12, an ordinance of the town of Phillipsburg, county of Warren, state of New Jersey, adopting a salary guide for the unclassified employees. This would be a motion to override the veto
So moved.
Second.
Are you seconding or are you asking?
I'm asking for a second. This is a motion to override the veto of the state of New Jersey adopting salary guide for the unclassified employees. You motioned?
I motioned, yes.
I will second. Is there debate? Discussion? Roll call.
Councilman Lutz.
No.
Councilman Davis.
No.
Council Vice President DeGirolamo.
Yes.
Councilman McVeigh.
If you vote yes, it's to override the veto.
Yes.
Council President Fulper.
Yes. Ordinance number 2018-12 has been,
Not been overridden.
that's correct.
You need two-thirds.
That's correct. So the ordinance stands.
The veto stands.
The veto stands. Moving forward, we have a consent agenda. Councilman Woods, do you have anything on the consent agenda?
No, there was a question brought up about the energy.
Yes.
About the energy, Evergreen program agreement. Were we going to table that?
There was, yes. Councilman Davis had asked for us to table 2018-126.
And 125, right?
Yes.
125.
Yeah.
I make a motion that we table them?
125 and 126?
Yes. And the resolution for Bernadine May, is that a separate resolution that we got tonight?
It is that will fall under the approval of the raffle license. It was just a change in time.
Oh, okay. No, I'm okay.
Okay. Council Vice President DeGirolamo.
2018-131, I'd like to call for discussion. It was the vac pay and sick pay.
Vice Notice 1 employee.
I just think something's stated wrong on it. That's the only question, why I want to pull it. So I need to pull it to discuss it.
Councilman Davis.
I have no others.
Councilman McVeigh. Good, sir. I myself am good. So we can move, there's a motion to table resolutions 2018-125, a resolution of the mayor and council of the town of Phillipsburg, County of Warren, State of New Jersey, authorizing the signing of government energy aggregation program agreements. Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Lutz.
Yes.
Councilman Davis.
Yes.
Council Vice President DeGirolamo.
Yes.
Councilman McVeigh.
Yes.
Council President Fulper.
Yes. Also, a resolution there's a motion to table 2018-126, a resolution of the mayor and council of the town of Phillipsburg, County of Warren, State of New Jersey, authorizing the execution of the government energy aggregation program agreements for the Morris Area Energy Cooperative.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Lutz.
Yes.
Councilman Davis?
Yes.
Council Vice President DeGirolamo?
Yes.
Councilman McVeigh?
Yes.
Council President Polk.
Yes. And the last one is Resolution 2018-131, which was,
I just want to remove from the consent so we can discuss it.
okay, so we can hear the discussion now.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Discussion, Councilwoman.
It just stated on here that this person was a library employee, but when I looked in the budget book, it states that person is employed under the court. So, this is not reading correct. So that needs to be amended. I don't know if we can just amend that here. I don't,
We can amend it.
just want to make sure the library doesn't get charged for something they shouldn't.
Move to pass it amended.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Lutz?
Yes.
Councilman Davis?
Yes.
Council Vice President DeGirolamo?
Yes.
Councilman McVeigh?
Yes.
Council President Polk.
Yes. So we accepted the amendments, now we actually have to pass it. Roll call.
Councilman Lutz?
Yes.
Councilman Davis?
Yes.
Council Vice President DeGirolamo?
Yes.
Councilman McVeigh?
Yes.
Council President Polk.
Yes. The rest of the items on the consent agenda, which are resolutions 2018-127, 2018-128, 2018-129, 2018-130, 2018-132, 2018-133, and 2018-134.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
we can roll call.
Councilman Lutz?
Yes.
Councilman Davis?
Yes.
Council Vice President DeGirolamo?
Yes.
Councilman McVeigh?
Yes.
Council President Polk.
Yes. And I don't believe we have any old business on the agenda, so we can move right forward to the mayor and his administrative reports.
Thank you.
welcome,
I'll
Mayor.
be as brief as possible. The issue with the personnel files, yes, I absolutely want to put it to bed, and part of what you see here today is a temporary business administrator. I think it's taken up way too much of our time, so I thought that opinion would put it to rest, but we'll move forward. At the last meeting, I gave you a letter requesting a business administrator for 6 months. I'm going to rescind that letter, Council President and Council, and replace it with a letter dated today, July 17th, appointment of an acting business administrator. The position of business administrator has been officially posted as of June 21st, 2018. I rescind that previous letter, as stated, and as we move forward in our search for a successful candidate, I'm appointing Mr. Samuel Capello as the acting business administrator effective July 18th, 2018. I do believe I have the authority to do this. It's been researched with Council Wenner. It'll be for 30 days, at which point I will advise the council my recommendation for a permanent business administrator. I've made copies for all of council to pass it down.
It's actually, the mayor's correct, it's called an interim. Right. Interim.
So by town code, the mayor does have the authority to appoint interim business administrator, so it doesn't require a vote by us, but.
So it's not acting,
Right.
it should be interim.
Pardon me.
No, it's fine. Just make sure the record's clear. And it's for 30 days, as the mayor stated.
I do appreciate the information by council and my colleagues to help continue to administer operations and maintenance of the town on a daily basis. Things are been very difficult. Council President, I do want to say one thing to you. I know that we have met and face-to-face agreed to work out our differences. This was very difficult, I have to tell you, and I tried to keep in touch with you the best I could, but I didn't want to keep sending you messages that were meaningless. And I want you to know, and I want council to know, and the residents to know, this consumed every day of my time since we last met. If there wasn't a sinkhole, I was working on moving personnel records to some degree, but I hope you can understand, and I hope everyone can understand, that I have to keep myself safe too. Trying to read through the laws of the Faulkner Act are very difficult. There's so many different versions So that is why I asked for counsel. The other reason I asked is that since I appoint someone to do my human resources, if I move the files, how could they do their job? And I haven't appointed someone yet. I've just taken a logical approach, and I wanted to share that with you. I didn't ignore you. It was just a matter, it's so complicated. I know Attorney Wenner, can work through it, but I struggle with it. I'll move on real quick. Just requesting that we move forward with the Norfolk and Southern lease agreement on Cherry Alley. I'm getting beat up quite a bit. The people back there on Mercer Street don't have a place to park. We've arranged to get a lease for the railroad bed from, what's the name of the company on Mercer Street that does the insulation? Is that Pachone?
High grade insulation.
High grade all the way to the bridge down, I'm not sure of that alley, it's down from Councilman Lutz's Jefferson Street, thank you. The parking would only be on the upper end towards Mount Parnassus for the Mercer Street residents. The police department had it all cleaned up. We're going to put a fence up so they can't dump anymore and put some stone down, and they'll have parking on the railroad property. There'll be no trails or anything of that nature for now. So I would request that you bring that up at the next meeting. The open space referendum, I just, again, thank you for bringing it up. I know that you put it on the agenda for tonight. I just want to make a few things clear on the open space. There is no open space in Phillipsburg, all right? I just want to get that straight. This was done, this open space referendum was done to upgrade our football fields, our baseball fields, our soccer fields, our restrooms, which I get complaints from every single day. The fields have not been maintained. They're as hard as a rock. They're all broadleaf covered. I wouldn't even think of going after any open space until Ray Pat had mentioned, until all of our sports fields have been brought up to date. So this money can be used. We can also bond against it, and we can write grants against it to pay the grants back. It's very important to the youth. Moving right along, the appointment open space committee, which would manage that open space referendum. I'm not allowed on that committee. No political influence, which should make everyone happy. It would be a committee probably made up of 4 residents, appointed by council, and 5 by the mayor. Resolution to participate in the New Brunswick Parking Authority. The reason for that is Chief Stetner is starting to enforce parking like you can't believe. I can see Bill Timmon looking at me. It has generated quite a bit of revenue, but that's not the point. The point is to straighten out the parking situation on Main Street, which was encouraged by the council president and others, and I'm glad to see them working together. The only advantage we have to this New Brunswick cooperative is if we're going to digital meters with credit cards. The cost on the open market is like $600. If we join this co-op, it's just like the co-op that we joined for paving streets that Stan uses. There's a Sussex co-op, there's a Middlesex co-op. The price comes down to $250. That was the only reason is to be able to use that co-op contract. Amended riverfront redevelopment plan. The sooner the better, Council President. We want to get moving on that. We have a lot of investors coming towards us, and I need to give them an answer. Lastly, I wanted to this is just to advise council and the residents that we have to get the records out of the old municipal building. The basement's entirely full from one end to another. So I'm going to recommend to the council president and council and the residents of the town of Phillipsburg that we digitize our records moving forward. We can't afford the space to keep these records. Right now, we have a basement full of moldy records, which we cannot move into a new building because then we'll get a moldy new building. So, Council President, at the next meeting, I hope to have 3 prices for you. It's very difficult to do. They have to be clean, they have to be run through a computer, but I think it's the right way to move when we look at bricks and mortar and the cost of bricks and mortar, and that's all I have, Council President.
Mayor, a question for you on the records retention. The records that are in the municipal building now, what is the retention period that the legal requirement for that retention?
Very good question. The New Jersey Department of General Services or Treasury, the town clerk would know this. There's different periods for different types of records. Police records are forever, I do believe. Is that right? Councilman McVeigh, you cannot dispose of police records, and they're the most we have.
And they're there?
And they're there. And they do have to go down and get them. They're in and out in 2 seconds and wipe them off downstairs. And then, of course, the office, chief financial officer, very important. Town clerk has so many records right now at the old building. And they're probably the tax assessor, of course, the tax assessor, and the tax collector are the most important. The rest are probably papers that people have brought in over the years, the free press I've seen from 1920. There's so much stuff that can be disposed of. I think Councilman DiGirolamo took a tour of the building and would agree with me.
Yes, please.
I apologize. I just want to clarify regarding the appointment of special counsel, and so that everyone is clear. The recommendation from me for special counsel occurs when I believe that there is a subject matter that is best handled by another attorney. If I have a conflict, and I realize, thinking back, that they said I didn't have a conflict, I would have a conflict if the mayor decides to sue the council. So if that's, Mayor, that's what you intend to do, then you have the appointment power with the advice and consent of the council for the special counsel. I have no say in that because I have a conflict. I can't represent you against the council. I can't represent the council against you. I represent the town as a whole.
But I still need council's approval
Advice and
for
consent.
professional services.
Correct. That is
Yes,
correct.
Thank you very much. Any questions?
No,
Council? Thank you.
This is the public petitions portion, and before anyone comes up, this gentleman here has been waiting patiently. Ray, before you wouldn't mind yielding to this gentleman here, he has been waiting patiently all meeting, listening to us speak before he had an opportunity. Sir, can you just state your name and address for the record, please?
Yes, my name is Gary Carnaval. I reside at 510 Law Avenue, Scotts Place, New Jersey. This is in reference to 159 Mercer Street. To describe it, my mother is now deceased. I'm still getting letters in reference to violations to the property. So I haven't changed the deed over, but in essence, it's my property. And I'm in receipt of a paper for a lien against the property in the amount of $175. The 175, can someone here answer the question as to what year that's applicable to?
Yeah, I can.
17 or 18?
Can I see it?
Oh, yeah, you should.
Thank you.
I just have to go to a couple. I'll wait over here.
No, you can stay right here, it's okay. I have your paperwork, you chased me down.
I would guess it's current if it says 120.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's for 18, and if you don't pay, they're gonna go to sale.
Meaning selling that?
They'll sell what's called a tax sale certificate. So the way it works is if your taxes are delinquent, then by year's end, if you remain delinquent, the town is obligated to go out to a tax sale, and they sell a certificate. And the idea is that a private entity will purchase that certificate, make the town whole in terms of back taxes, and then that person then has an obligation to continue to pay the taxes going forward in order to maintain his ability to tax sale certificate. After 2 years, or sometimes 6 months, depending on the situation, that entity can then foreclose on the property.
Okay, this is in reference to violations. I pay all the taxes.
Right, so...
And the 175, again, I'm going to ask, I'm sorry, maybe it's my brain, is applicable to 17 or 18? Because I have other charges in the year 18 for 300.
Seems to be applicable to 18.
Because the proof of the 175 that they just charged me, if indeed, that was the most recent one.
What violation was that for?
That's
for
for,
lawn cutting?
Yeah, for grass.
Sure, so that's
I responded to the certified letter. I got a regular letter in the mail. I physically went here and abated it, removed it by 5/17, and they're sending me a bill for 5/23. And all prior times, I've called the police to show them the dumping and vagrants living next to this structure. Okay, I'm getting off course. But I abated the issue fully with witnesses on the street on the date of 5/17, and now they're sending me a bill on 523. So my question is, how do they prove that they were there? Who tells them to go there? And it's bizarre that 6 days later, after I physically went there, and I do have witnesses. So those papers are contained here. I don't know if this is the time.
Yeah, I can just speak to the procedure. All right, so if municipal services are expended, so in your case, the town employees went out and cut the lawn. I know you disputed they cut the lawn, but if they cut the lawn, municipal services are expended. We're paying town employees to do that work. That's authorized by statute to be treated like a tax lien. So if a lien imposed against the property, if it remains unpaid, then it goes out to sale.
Okay, sir.
But as it relates to your other questions, I'm not trying to cut you off, I'm just trying to limit it to what I am comfortable speaking about.
I'm a little bit nervous.
Sure. That's the procedure. Now, if you have a dispute as to that, would really lie with the mayor's office as the chief executive officer of the town. Council approves resolutions imposing liens against the property, so that aspect lies with the council. But in terms of how it gets to the council, the DPW or whatever department it is certifies that the work was done, they attach an invoice, it's presented to the council adopts.
I fully understand. The only question is, with witnesses, okay, with me cutting everything, removing all garbage, the original date was, it's right here in the letter of 5/7. Abatement date was 5/17. I did it by the abatement date, and then they sent the crew out for the 23rd, which is 5 days later, charging me $175. So, I don't understand what the wording is contest. In other words, I am here to contest. Are there legal aspects to this, or is what is the definition of contesting? Is this the only rights I have right here?
Sir, first, you said this is your deceased mother's property?
The letters are going sent to her, I can change the deed over, and I do handle any problems.
My condolences.
Thanks.
You're welcome. I will say, you drove all the way out here tonight from Scotch Plains?
Yes.
And you had a long ride home?
Yes, because there's a pertinent matter of $300.
Correct.
And then there's the $175, which I just went over 2 times that I'm in problem of, and I need to pay it today. But how do I pay something that I'm contesting and not ethical to me?
Right. So is it applicable, I mean, can council waive a period until he can speak with the mayor? Because he's going to speak with your office, Mayor.
Council President, Council, and Sir, what I'd like to do, if I could, I will go in and get our construction code official, and do you have the official's name on there who?
Yeah, well, I'd just like to say something in positive nature. Paul Smith.
Paul.
He's a professional, and he's a very understanding man.
He is.
So my attitude right now is no way towards Paul Smith.
Yeah, we understand, and I do want to resolve this. This is kind of a daily basis type thing where people get cited.
Just hold money today, I should be speaking up
Could we,
there.
can we call you, conference call you?
I could come up tomorrow.
No, I don't want you to drive. I'll conference call you. What time?
But do I need a waiver for these things?
No, we're
Councilor.
going to talk about it tomorrow.
I don't think we have to take any action tonight because if it was issued in 2018, the tax bill wouldn't be till July 2019, right? And there's no additional fees that are going to be assessed? I don't think we're charging any interest on this. Yeah. So I don't think we have to take any action.
Here, better yet, I'm going to give you my number.
Yeah.
Call me tomorrow, I'll walk downstairs. No.
Wait, this was on tonight's? Yeah. Okay, well,
We can tear it back.
Yeah, it was on. Well, but at the end of the day, we can always just undo it with another resolution.
Right.
So there's no point taking action until we get.
I'm going to say something on here.
When they come over here, get a report back.
No, whole town.
I hate to see him have to put more time in Scotch Plains.
I'll
Call me tomorrow, I'll walk.
He just has to.
Yeah, I'll walk downstairs. These are others, these are others. You call me, I'll go upstairs, we'll talk to the council.
I wasn't gabbling you. I just couldn't hear you.
Sir, you're good then? You're okay?
Yes.
I'm sorry.
No, you have nothing to be sorry for.
Thank you for your time.
You're very welcome. Drive carefully back home this evening.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Right, now you have the floor.
Barry Pat, 459 Needler Avenue, Phillipsburg, New Jersey. I have some good news about Amy Myers, the Warren Lanes. She's moving around. You saw there, she's doing good up there. They're having a bowling thing for her on Sunday at the Warren Lanes. I know Danny, you can't make it. It's from 1 to 5 at Warren Lanes, $15 per person, including shoes. If anybody wants to bring a bake sale, bring up Warren Lanes. All the proceeds go to Amy Myers up at Warren. She's been up there for almost now 48 days. That's almost 5 weeks. But I like the town of Phillipsburg. I like you guys come up there and help us support her. It happened 8 years ago, and I like to get rid of this cancer, whatever we call it, get it away from her.
Ray, you're a good man, and
I've known her for 20 years. You've known her sister too.
yes, sir. She was my neighbor for years. I will be there with my family, and just to let you know that I did see a email blast that went out from the mayor's office that they did also advertise for Amy as well.
Yes.
Okay.
And I also got another thing. Pin cancer's coming up at Warren Hills High School. It's Phillipsburg versus Washington. Can't call it Warren Hills.
You're not asking me to wrestle, though,
No,
right? Okay.
Everybody, wrestling team is going up there. It's pin cancer. It's up at the Warren Hills High School football stadium. And it's a great thing to come up there to watch. Everybody come on up. All the Phillipsburg fans, all the Washington fans, come up and watch Phillipsburg wrestle. It's a big thing. And also, the Phillipsburg wrestling team will also be at the Warren County Fair 2 days later. I will be up there with the wrestling team. I think you guys should come up there and help support them. And they need all the fans up there they can.
Ray, thank you very, very much. Appreciate it. Ms. Boyko. Still going to state your name and address, though.
Thank you. 147 Elm Street. Just a few things. What is, number one, what is the status of the Walters Park sign resolution?
I would have to defer to the mayor on that one.
I'm not going to give up on that. That sign is a part of the street. It needs to go back where it was.
Mayor, do we have a status on that sign?
The entrance sign to Walters Park, that's now been replaced. I do believe the DPW is working diligently to replace the original sign that was stolen. In the interim, they put up a brown routed sign just so there was something there, but it...
Stolen? It's stolen.
It was stolen, I do believe. It was deteriorated and taken, let me retract that. I know it fell apart and then it was gone.
Okay.
I don't know if someone picked it up, but it is being replaced.
But not with the original sign.
Similar.
Okay. My second issue, am I allowed to ask Mr. Struck questions? Council questions?
Yes.
My concern is about the traffic studies for Lewis Street and the intersection of Webster and Sayre. I received all the reports. The traffic study for Lewis is completely different than the one for Webster and Sayre. And I'm not sure I understand why the same traffic studies aren't done for each place. Because that's still...
I don't have it in front of me, I have to see what the differences are. I can't answer that right now.
Well, the only thing that Lewis Street got was a monitoring of speed. And then what happened with Webster and Lewis?
Webster has sight distance issues on the wall.
Well, there's some site issues on Lewis and Fulton as well, but with Webster and Sayre, it was an intersection issue. With Lewis, it's everything between Heckman and Hudson. And I know that the average speed came back in the report is 20 miles an hour, and that is not the case. Chances are what lowered that average is people just pulling out from the
Well,
road.
we begin with the police department, but the speeds have to come from them, we have to rely on their data. But they did do some data collection out there, that was the result. Thank you.
Well, I would really request another one be done, because we can sit on our porch all day long and catch people flying up the street. And I'll be honest, I'll be the first one to call media and say, listen, for years people have been trying to get a stop sign at Fulton and Lewis. And something serious is going to happen. I've been over in that house over 20 years, and I've witnessed multiple accidents. One that pushed a car almost all the way up to the alley. So, I mean, it's bad. It's very bad. The speed it's like a raceway. It's a speedway. And
So
sooner
I'll
or
relay that
later,
information back to Chief Stetner, but that's where it starts, man.
Okay, so what we'll do is we will refer this back to Chief Stetner, which is the first step. Chief Stetner will then, well, we personally can't, we would have to probably pass a resolution or ask the mayor to pass it along to Chief Stetner, have Chief Stetner do a traffic study for Lewis Street and Fulton. I personally, I share the same sentiment as those on Lewis Street. I do feel that it does need a stop sign. Stan knows where I stand. I had pulled him aside before taking the oath of office back in November. I think, was it November?
well, I also believe that it was Mr. Shirk that said if we couldn't get a stop sign, we'd get a speed bump. And he said we couldn't do it in the winter because of the plows, but now here we are mid-July and we still don't even have a speed bump, so there's nothing on the list.
So,
Why is there no attempt to slow cars down on that street? The highest reported, according to the report that was sent to me, was 52 miles an hour.
that came from the police department?
Yes.
And it was 52
The
miles an hour?
the highest that they recorded on that street was 52
Get
miles an
a stop
hour.
sign out there. That's kind of, okay, so, I know we have to follow steps, right? Stan, I gotta be honest, I do believe that a majority of us will be in favor of a stop sign there. But if we have to start with Chief Stetner, we'll start with Chief Stetner, but by the next meeting, Mayor, you think we can get him out there before the next meeting, so the next meeting we can get a report?
Absolutely. I did speak to him about it tonight, and he wants to speak with Stan, and once they speak, he'll be here at the next meeting.
Okay.
Okay, my last issue is living across the street from a house that a landlord just purchased.
144 Lewis Street.
144 Lewis Street, that's right. I know that he broke ordinances, I know he broke laws, and I know he wasn't cited, and I want to know why. This was a golden opportunity for this town to start setting a standard for landlords to follow the ordinances, and it was ignored. He was not cited. We have seen those people living in that house before the CO, and nothing was done. So I want to know why we're not enforcing these ordinances for these landlords to abide by the rules, because if we've got to start somewhere.
May I?
Agree.
If I may, just a little bit of backstory. Ms. Fulk was 110% correct, and I do believe that the inspections department dropped the ball immensely on this one. So much so that I do think they should go back and cite the landlord at 144 because of all the proof that we had that they moved in prior to obtaining a CO. It wasn't just 144 Lewis Street, it was also 733 South Main Street. The landlords are getting out of control in this town, and you're right, it's a missed opportunity, but I don't think we have to miss it altogether, Mayor. I do believe that we can go back to the inspections department, and I don't, me personally, I personally don't care about excuses. If we don't start somewhere, we'll never finish. So we need to do something.
We did start the conversation at 144. It's the same landlord, I do believe. I'm not sure about 733.
It's the same landlord?
It's the same landlord. I did talk to Kevin Duddy, and he said we'd get on it, but I think you had put us on to something else before.
And more than likely I have. I know I email you guys every day, but it's just
something
because
we went out to right away.
Residents call me day in and day out, and I try and address every single matter. But the inspection, this is where I know we need another inspector, but we need them to seriously get out. So when we send them an email and we have all of that, they really should go out and cite them.
I will see if we can get an inspector out tomorrow to 144 to see if the CO, I'll find out about the CO, you'll get an email.
The CO may have passed by now, but I do have proof that they were in the building prior to.
Before the CO.
Right, and we contacted.
They were in several nights, and they go out the back door.
And Ms.
The landlord leaves the key in the mailbox.
That should not happen. That should not happen.
And it's through no fault of your own. You understand my heightened voice is just because I'm tired of landlords, to be quite honest with you. Especially ones that abuse the practices as they do. So, Ms. Forgo, I hope to have a better answer for you other than we dropped the ball by the next meeting. Okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hello.
How are you?
All right. My name is Doris Stinson. I'm at 1041 Ridge Street in Phillipsburg. After tonight, you guys are going to hate me. You know why? Because I've got tough questions to ask. People want to know on Facebook, what's going on with the Ice House in Agway and how many fines have they been cited for? You know what? Forget the signs. No more signs. You, look I'm telling all of you, that is the gateway to South Main Street, and it looks like a dump. You know what? I'll tell you what, I've been to the Bronx, I've been to Brooklyn, it looks better than that, and that's really, really bad. Okay. Second thing, Phillipsburg now is about 20% black. How come no public workers are black? When are you going to start hiring black people to do this public service jobs, and maybe even the Bridge Commission? Third is, when are the police going to get body cameras? Because right now we have a police officer who is on paid sick leave for the rest of his life, $65,000 a year plus benefits. We already have liability from the shooting of Thomas Reed. He's now on sick leave for life. Maybe if he had a body cam, both of them would have stopped and thought, this is going to be on camera. Maybe we're going to wait and think this out before that whole incident.
I don't hate you.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I've met a lot of fine black men, I tell you what, going down that laundromat, I'm not kidding, no. And they're welders, they're they're mechanics, and they're having a hard time, part-time work. The economy is still not that good. So I said, look, if you'll do like public service work with the public works, but none of them ever seem to get hired.
Council President, may I?
Absolutely, please.
Yes, we do have two black employees. We have a tax collector, and we also have a police officer, and it's something that we look at diversity as much as we can. Right now, we're looking for Hispanic speaking upfront counter people, because we deal with a lot of Hispanics in our code office and different nationalities. That it's a very, very, how can I say, an important need of ours. It's just that we don't hire all the time. It's
You just hired, what, 4 people in the last year for the public works department?
No, the council just gave us one, which we hired, and we hired one last year. We do hire seasonal employees, but I will tell you that the applications, and there is someone here that could, no, there's not, that could attest to it. We don't get a lot of applications. We actually have to hunt. As a matter of fact, we have one volunteer from the chamber, Lauren Spence, who was a Spanish major who has offered to come up to the municipal building to speak with different nationalities when they're trying to get code permits and stuff. It's a very difficult thing to do, but we have broke the barrier.
Well, I think it needs to be broken more, and I have met...
I don't disagree.
I have met the black police officer, and quite frankly, I like him.
Yeah, I do
He's
too.
very nice, very courteous, very friendly. You know, I want to see more of him, and I don't care what town you got to bring him from. You know. And then too, we got to start cultivating people in this town. Look, hey, we're going to need more police officers, you know, to the high schoolers. Hey, you know, go to VOTEC, take that criminal justice major or whatever. But we may have to start looking out of the town to get a more diverse group of people working, because you can't just walk into becoming a police officer. Usually it's 2 years of an associate's degree or maybe 4 years of a law degree. So the body camera issue, what's with that? Because we do have a lot of money for signs. I think the state has been giving out grants to get body cameras, if I'm not mistaken.
Council President? We had just had a discussion with the chief about tasers. It was going to be tasers first. We do have an ex-state trooper here that could speak to this much more intelligently than I. Once we get these tasers and get the people trained, it would be body cameras next. They're very expensive.
Well, as I understand, there's already
Councilman
4
McVeigh
police officers who are trained to use the taser, but in the state of New Jersey, a taser has to have audio and video recording. So what is the problem? I mean, all you have to do is buy the taser. You already have 4 officers trained from that, and I heard it from a police officer. And I've also discussed this issue when Todd was president. So,
We are definitely forward, and we'll continue the conversations. Get them in the armory, get them out of the old building, and get tasers in their hands. I wholeheartedly agree with you 100%. We just lost our K-9 unit, which was very important to us, and very expensive too, but very necessary when you're chasing someone. I will continue to have those conversations with the chief of police, and I encourage you to come up here and keep questioning us until we get them.
well, okay, how about the Ice House and the Agway? How come you can't put the mobile phone cell tower over by the Agway, and that alone would pay for all the repairs?
Yeah, the Agway, we just put a tarp on the roof. It needs a little work. We don't own the Agway, but we took the liberty of condemning it and putting the tarp on it to save it because it's a historic structure. We just kind of did that. I don't want anybody to hear that. But anyway, that area is very important to us. It is the entrance to Phillipsburg. And there's more to it, Council President.
Yeah, but where are you going to get the money to do this? Because you know what, taxpayers are already having a hard enough time.
Ms. Stinson, what I would do is we have reached our 5-minute limit, but I'd like to invite you back to ask some of those tough questions to Chief Stetner when he's here at the next meeting.
I don't trust them. You know, I read the newspapers, I'm sorry, the whole
With that being said,
the whole family.
Council President.
Yeah, we need to move forward.
Council President, real quick, we just didn't put that tarp on for the aesthetics.
That's okay.
What was happening is the shingles, the nails on the slate were rusting off and they come down like guillotines. It was actually dangerous. So the tarp is catching those slate shingles, those slates, before they hit the ground. It was a construction code official's decision to make the building safe. We just don't go tarping people's homes.
It's safer, right?
Right.
Okay, we can move forward. Ms. Paulus?
Liz Paulus, 26A Glen Avenue. I'll continue with the subject of the Agway building. The town holds a tax lien on it going back to 2014. Why has it not been foreclosed on?
There's 2 federal IRS tax liens in front of it as well as a county tax lien.
Okay. Why did it take so long to tarp it? The tarp was purchased back in September of last year.
I can answer the question. The tarp was ripped upon delivery. We had to reorder the tarp. Now we have an extra tarp. But anyway, we did it as soon as we could.
Alrighty. I will also continue with Connie's concerns about landlords and inspections. I pulled out the property next to my house, or close to my house, 16 Glen Avenue. They had an inspection back in 2016. It failed for about 15 things. And I think that was in October of 2016. December of 2016, they pulled a permit to rewire the basement. That permit's still open. They never got a CO for the inspection back in 2016. I had sent emails to the inspections department about this property starting in May. The response I got back was, well, don't worry, they're going to be getting an inspection again. And I told them, I said, you know what, a new family just moved in there. Is there not something in place for the inspections department when you have properties that have failed or have open permits for them to be flagged that they need a follow-up? So, getting on to another subject, I have submitted Oprah's. I'm waiting for the activity log of Stephen Ellis, Mayor Facebook page for June 16th to June 27th of 2018. When will I get that? I made that request on June 27th. I asked for an update on July 10th.
I answered one of your
Yes, it was for the blocked users.
The blocks, but I didn't have
Now I
any
want the
blocks.
activity log.
I do believe, but council, correct me if I'm wrong, I do believe I pushed that up the line to see if it was a legitimate request. I'm not sure. I got to check. Do you recall?
And I recall receiving the request, Mayor, but I can review that with you.
Okay, thank you. I didn't, it wasn't ignored. It was it was pushed up the
It
line.
was non-responsive. That's ignored.
Big fish to fry.
Oh, I do have big fish to fry.
No, I do too, I'm sorry.
Yeah, because I have other requests that, you know, I'm not getting all the information, whatever, but most recently, in reference to your Facebook page, I do believe it was Sunday morning, you posted pictures. I'm assuming that you think that you're being stalked. And I posted a comment in reference to that, because I do believe when you talk about liabilities, I think you're the biggest liability of this town.
I know you do.
Not just about your Facebook page, but your emails that I have opened and that I am in receipt of, as well as some other Facebook posts that you have made. I think there are 2 people in this room that you owe an apology to, and you should hope that they do not sue. And there's also another person that you most recently made inappropriate remarks to. So I really think that there has been enough talk about you shutting down your Facebook page that you really should heed everybody's comments.
Right, I would think that...
Because it is a liability.
Council President, if I may.
Yes, please.
Yeah, I think that's my First Amendment right, and as you read Sunday morning, if I don't laugh, I will cry. I have been drugged through the gutter for the last year, as you well know, and if I just have a little fun, I'm sorry if it offended you.
Do it on your private page, not on the mayor's Facebook.
The mayor's Facebook page is not associated with the town of Phillipsburg. I just want you to know that.
I can fight that one.
I have to tell you this, and I say this as genuinely as possible. I sit here at night during the council meetings, and I say, well, I get out of here unscathed. And I say, if I do, I'm going to buy a lottery ticket. And if I don't, I'm going directly home. I want you to believe, and I know you probably won't, my heart is about this town. It is not about my self-fulfillment or self-gain. I've done what I wanted to do. And I'm looking back now for my children. I have young children, a lot of young children. And Mrs. Paulus, if you don't believe that, there's nothing I can do. I don't know what to tell you.
You have a funny way of showing it.
You see, I disagree with you when I'm at 3 o'clock in the morning at a fire and you're sound asleep, and I could go on. And I don't mean that as an offense, but whenever that phone rings, I am there. I'm there
And I do the same thing
24
with
hours
my
a day.
job too.
Yeah.
I get woken up during the night
Yeah,
too, because that is my job.
Yeah, it is
Which,
very...
if you do recall, you attacked me personally with my employment, just because I come here and I voice my opinion in exercising my First Amendment right.
Ms. Wall,
What's fair is fair.
it's been the 5 minutes, I'm just...
Thank you, Council President.
Don't be nervous.
My name's Rita LaRose, and I live at 79 Summit.
Hi, Rita, how are you?
Nervous.
Don't be nervous.
I just want to talk about parking.
Okay.
And, if we could maybe try to take a page out of Flemington Borough or Princeton Borough, they have stickers for people. I am an owner on our street, and there is hardly ever parking, and there are cars with Pennsylvania plates, and I don't know if they're renters or owners, and I don't really care, but if a sticker could be issued, and we would have to show that our car is registered to that address, and we could actually park, and I don't have to walk my 2-year-old a mile away to get home after an 8-hour day at work. I'd really appreciate if someone could think about that.
You bring up an excellent point, and it's one of the reasons that we've gone after the properties that are owned by the landlords who have subdivided, rented out multiple units, and not just them specifically, but our task force, right, towards landlords. If we can eliminate that altogether, and I do believe that some members of the planning board feel the same way we do. If we can eliminate that altogether, it'll eliminate the congestion, right? So it's not something that I'll be able to fix overnight. I'm not sure what the legality is with regard to the stickers. I would have to look into that. I do know Mr. Timmon at one point in time had sent me an entire packet on the
on Flemington, and a lot of it did make some sense. I just would have to confer with council. I tell you what, if you give us your phone number, or if you wanted to give us your email, we'll keep in touch.
Okay, I appreciate it.
Okay.
I also just want to say that my husband is an HVAC tech, and there are weeks that he is on call and has to bring his truck home. There's an ordinance that stands that a truck can't be over a certain weight, and it's parked between 7 and 6 a.m. We have a neighbor who apparently consistently called. We didn't know that ordinance stood. His truck has a tracker in it. He tried to park it at my mother-in-law's home in Stewartsville. She lives in the townhouses, and someone there didn't want it there. This is like a serious problem because
Do you have the ticket? Do you have a copy of the ticket?
it was a warning that was put on the vehicle, and we tried to talk to him. The police officer was very nice, and he said, this is a really BS ordinance, but your neighbor keeps calling. And this woman keeps posting pictures of his truck on different Facebook sites. And like, he's on call every 6 weeks, they rotate call, but this is how we make our living to pay our mortgage, to live here.
You're right.
And I don't know what we're supposed to do. The truck does not fit in our garage. It does not fit in our driveway. I'm sorry.
No, you don't have to be sorry. How big's the truck?
I don't know the answer to that. I could ask him for the registration out of it when he's on call next week again, but it just worries me because it is how we make our living.
Absolutely. If you can, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give, Vicki, can we give her my email address? I'm going to give you my email address. If you can send me a copy of the warning so I know what statute they wrote the warning for, and I can research it, and then I can come back and confer with council.
Sure.
Maybe it's an ordinance that's outdated we don't need anymore.
It says something about it can't be over a certain weight between 7 p.m. and 6 a.m. It can't be parked.
I'm pretty sure I remember the ordinance because I think my uncle is the reason that it happened.
No, that was changed. When we changed the form of government,
Yeah.
that was changed.
Yeah, that's right.
1900.
Yeah. I have a feeling that that's one of the reasons, totally different side of the family, but, you know. But yes, please, if you wouldn't mind reaching out to me, then we'll go ahead and work on that for you, okay?
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Matthew Skirbo, 1073 Pearl Street. I have a few questions for the Housing Authority appointment for tonight. I would like to know how many candidates there were for that.
I had asked earlier how many letters we had received.
Yes.
And we only had one in our packet. That's right. Okay.
Okay. And whose appointment was that? Was that council's or mayor's?
It was a council appointment? Yes. It was a council appointment.
Council. Okay. And I don't know if someone can answer this. I know Mr. Lutz and Mr. Davis was on council last year when the individual was appointed to an expiring term, I believe. Who was the councilman that made the motion for that? Do you recall?
I think it was Bernie Fay.
Yes, I believe you're right. It's Bernie Fay, and I believe that the person who was appointed was his direct boss at the time. So I just want you guys to think about that.
Mr. Skirbo, I do believe that I had received a letter of interest from Vicki Branch. I was carbon copied on that resident in town. Mayor, I believe I was carbon copied on a letter that it went to you, correct? Mm-hmm. All right. I don't know why that letter was the only letter in our packet. I don't have an answer for that. I will certainly look into it and get back to you.
Thank you. And I have one more question. Maybe you guys can answer this. I want to know whose responsibility is for the weeds that are on the other side of the curb in the town? Is that the town's or is that the property owners?
That's a good question, council.
Property owners. Are you talking about like the sidewalk side?
No.
You're talking about the street side?
Yes.
That's our responsibility. What location are you talking about?
You can pick
it. All right.
Any street you want. I'm trying to be respectful about it, but we're talking about pollution tonight. We're talking about all these things. When you drive around this town, what's going to make people not want to come here is when you see weeds growing out of the street.
I see it. I see it right here. I see it at the construction sites, and
I I just wanted to bring that to your attention. That's
Thank you.
No problem. Have a good day.
Thank you, Mr. Skirbo.
Hi, folks. David Morissette, and I still live at 5 Fairview Heights, Phillipsburg, New Jersey. I just have a couple of quick questions based on conversations you all had tonight. In terms of the redevelopment plan, we have this thing called the Opportunity Zone where people are going to get great big tax breaks on their capital gains. Is that program time sensitive?
Yes, it is. Excuse me. Yes, it is time sensitive. The federal government, is specifically the Trump administration, has set aside so many billions of dollars to offset the loss of taxes from the capital gains. If in fact any counties throughout the nation get ahead of us, and they shouldn't be because we have all our work done. We're ready to put a shovel in the ground. You know, we did all our plannings that had our historic districts done. You know, Stan Trek has 2 years ago started the public meetings, the Blaustein School of Engineering. We are so far ahead. However, if we wait and some town comes up with a cockamamie, center, business center or something, and that money that is set aside to cover the federal tax loss is spent, we're out in the cold. It is a timing issue.
Okay, so we want to get this as soon as we can under the, where everybody's comfortable, I guess. Okay, there was a thing about modifying the rec ordinance, could somebody let me know which rec leagues currently get funding?
The Steel Hill Bulldogs, Firth Town Falcons, and do the Renegades get it?
We put soccer in there, Little Miners,
Little
and youth
Miners,
center.
and
And
youth-
the senior center?
You're just talking about recreational leagues?
No, that is adult recreational.
So there are 4, yes.
Says 4, okay. Yeah. Now, which are those rec leagues, are they all shared services?
2 are controlled by the county.
Okay, and 2 they're not controlled or not shared
No,
services?
private insurance, private everything.
Okay. And they all get funding, right?
Councilwoman, if I may, the word control.
Yeah.
Well, sorry, is that the wrong word?
I think I made it myself.
Yeah, we don't share services with
Because each organization has a board, so technically the town doesn't have
Well, the
a
town
controlling, we don't control them.
No, but the resolution states the town
So,
has the board to make certain
right, so we have to
decisions.
go back and take a look at the.
It wasn't passed here. It was passed
Right, it was
here.
passed, actually, Councilman Lynn was the president at the time, and I remember him saying that it was all over insurance, he wanted them to retain their own autonomy, and I agree with him. So I do think that ordinance needs to be looked at. I do think that we should insure them, absolutely 110%, especially the youth leagues, but I don't think that we should have control. Too much government control is a bad thing.
But they get some funding from the
Oh,
town.
absolutely,
Right,
yes.
yeah,
Yes.
which is good. I think that's good. So one of the things I've heard, and I'm just trying to wrap my mind around it. One of the things I've heard is that we can't really talk about funding the Firth Youth Center because we don't know about the shared service next year. So if the other organizations get funding and they don't have shared services, I don't know why the Firth Youth Center needs shared services to talk about funding.
Why do you bring that up every meeting?
The reason I brought it up was because in the last meeting and in this meeting, you said you couldn't really discuss funding for the Firth Youth Center because you don't know about the shared services agreement.
Well, actually, it's until the next budget's adopted or presented by the mayor.
Right.
But I think you're quoting me, right? I did say that, and to be quite honest with you, that's how I feel. Until there's a shared services agreement in place, unfortunately, there's nothing we can do.
Okay, but rec leagues will probably get funding, no shared services agreement.
So,
It's not $20,000.
right, we haven't given them $20,000.
No, the rec leagues, the rec leagues. So I don't give the council doesn't provide $20,000 to the rec leagues, right? And they provide
How much
just
rec-
as much,
how
if
much-
not more, recreation than the Firth Youth Center. And I can tell you that because, well, I've been involved in rec leagues for 20 years.
Well, they provide more rec services. The Firth Youth Center provides all kinds of services.
Sure they do, absolutely.
Right.
And they're compensated for those. They have a membership fee, right?
Well, there's a $15 membership fee for a child.
Do they have investors?
And the
Do they have investors?
the membership fee covers many
Right.
programs for that.
So what I'm asking is, do they have investors? Because the rec leagues do not have investors.
They have contributors, right?
Who, the rec leagues?
No, the Firth Youth Center.
Oh, okay, so contributors,
Right.
okay,
As do the rec leagues.
absolutely not.
Do the people, when they have their children go in to play sports, do they generally pay a fee?
Not all the time.
Not all the time, but do they generally pay a fee?
If they're supposed to, yes.
And the fee runs about,
Anywhere between $20 and $35.
okay, so
50?
I'm just,
50.
I'm just,
Yeah, but you're misleading here. Each thing that the youth center does, they charge a trial.
no, they don't.
Okay. Or they're funded by
They
somebody.
even charge the youth organizations to use.
But I was responding to Mark's comment. My
Councilman
understanding is
Brooks.
that a child will pay $15, and if they're a member of the Firth Youth Center, they can do multiple programs on that $15.
It all depends. It all depends. There's certain things they can do. and
Where
certain
do
things
we
they
start
can't.
arguing about the Firth Youth Center?
Yeah,
No,
that's
listen.
what I can't understand.
I'm happy the Firth Youth Center exists. It's literally 3 blocks away from my house. I grew up there.
I'm not arguing, I
So-
was asking a question. I'm not sure why you can't say the Firth Youth Center would get funding because they don't have a shared service agreement.
We don't have a budget for next year.
Right, so,
Okay, that's it.
I don't want to discuss the Firth Youth Center until we have a shared services agreement, which I believe that is being worked on.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
I just have to go to the bathroom. I'll be right back.
I gotta go too, so.
Oh dear, I'm not gonna have a whole.
No, you're good.
Just
Joe,
let me
go
talk
ahead.
when he comes back. Go ahead, Joe.
I'm Joe Miner, I live at 392 South Main Street in Phillipsburg. And Mr. McVeigh said, proposed putting off, what is it called, tabling a motion so we can get a better understanding of this $3.7 million. Thank you. And when you bring in those people, because you said you're bringing it in for us public, I've been wanting to know about that $3.7 million since they first started talking about getting out of the Corliss thing. I hear these stories. The police have all these special requirements. I want to hear them and how much they cost. I have seen some ridiculous costs, I thought ridiculous costs approved by this council, previous councils in particular. I recall approving $3,000 per room to correct the heat. How about, oh yeah, they did that. So please, when you get that group together, I would like Stan, of course, Stetner, of course, and then I'd like to hear what some contractors say about what they could do, why it costs $3.7 million. I'd also still think you can't throw out the idea of just raising the present building and rebuilding there, especially for $3.7 million. That's the 1-2 cents. And the other thing, it keeps coming up over and over and over again. And the solution I'm going to mention. We need more. Oh, I'm losing 2 people.
No, we're waiting for one to come back, Joe.
Oh. We need more inspectors. The council budgeted $50,000 rather than $400,000. If you want these problems taken care of, and you're wrong about it, no, forget the half-truth stuff. It'll cost $400,000 for 4 inspectors, and that's what Duddy wants, and that's what he needs. Then you will have these inspectors on the job doing all the stuff, including the new stuff that your new ordinance calls for. But you aren't going to get it for $50,000. And you're going to keep having problems when people come in here and say, well, the inspection, it didn't work. The people were occupied. Yeah, well, if we had the 4 more inspectors, you wouldn't have that problem. And the last thing, I'm a good landlord, and I don't like to be put together with the term landlords and generally throw it. You can specify bad landlords, you can say, and you can say bad absentee landlords if you like. But the landlords are the ones that have put the money into the town so far, and quit dumping on me. Thank you.
Good job. Thank you. Anybody else?
One more.
Mr. Freeland?
I can't get thrown out.
My feeling towards them Moab and Phillipsburg. We watched a guy here from 140, 114 Mercer Street over a little bit of grass. 159. I'm glad you're with me, Mr. Blitz. Because you're a neighbor to where I'm talking about. The redevelopment of Perucci property. When's the last time somebody cut the grass there? When's the last time that guy got a fine for the way it looks? The weeds turn into trees. We have all kinds of critters coming out there, 2-legged and 4-legged. When's there going to be something done about that property? Going to wait to build on it? If he ever builds on it. Why do we got to continue to look at it? You see tractor trailers down there changing oil, working on trucks on Howard Street, right, Mr. Litz?
Correct.
It's an eyesore. It's an eyesore. People worried about LMR. LMR, they're beautiful people. Maybe people should take pictures down the Perucci project. There's one other thing too I forgot. Oh, where's the chief? I asked for a month ago to be here at the following meeting. He wasn't here. He's not here today. And I'd like to talk about Techman Street again. The police were there for 40 minutes last night. 40. Because the guy wanted to kick his girlfriend out. Our police are down there babysitting them all the time. Is the chief applying the ordinance, the 3 times ordinance that I've been asking for? You know what? I'm not worried about the chief. I like to ask the mayor, the CFO of the town. What's been going on down there?
Domestics aren't included.
I cannot answer that question, but I will tell you that 90% of the incidents in Phillipsburg are domestic disputes.
This guy ain't domestic. It's all, he's drunk, he's out working on his roof. There's all kinds of stuff. And I'm sure there's somebody right back there that will witness it for me. Miss Davis. Nothing. Nothing. That's what I'm talking about. No accountability. I'll try to make this real quick. Dan Boyce, 244 Irving. You passed the ordinance for LMR, correct?
No.
No?
We passed it with the amendment. It still needs a 3rd reading.
Okay. It was brought up that there is a ordinance that you're only allowed 4 round trips.
I believe it's a town statute, and I don't remember it offhand. I think I know who does. If Ms. Morissette, yes, please. You can. Do you need the town statute right away?
Well, no, I'm just, I'm curious if that's a fact.
It is.
It is a
I
fact?
did check, yes.
Good.
Ms. Morissette was absolutely correct.
Then I hope that since nobody wants LMR to come in for that reason, then
council will take it upon themselves to inform the businesses like Helen's Florist, Rocco's Pizza, Canal Side, Jack's, anybody that does deliveries. A round trip is when you leave destination A, going someplace and come back to destination A. So all these delivery services must be stopped then, because it's against the ordinance, correct? I know I'm going to probably get shot for this because people are going to not be able to get their deliveries, but if you're not going to let LMR come in for that reason, then stop the pizza deliveries and the flour deliveries and anything else. And buses, yeah. Atlantic States, I mean, there's so many.
All right, we're getting a little off track here, I do understand, but Ms. Morissette, you did find that statute?
Actually, that was the one I left off. I have the one about prohibiting trucking businesses whose primary business activity is hauling for hire.
No, it's just I'm just looking for the
So I
number.
missed that one.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it's not fair to allow one person to do something and not the other.
I appreciate your comment, Mr. Boyce, thank you. Is there anyone else? Okay, public portion is closed. We do have a approval for a raffle license, number, can we just skip it? All right, no, I'm just kidding. Councilman Lewis, open time.
Yeah, I have a couple of things. How are we making out with the subcontractor for the code enforcement that we put in the budget?
Council President? Yep, we have gathered the construction code official and the two code officials to start a proposal for council to move forward with that. Also, we brought in Bob Merlo, the Chief Financial Officer, to make sure the money was spent properly. And to understand that's my responsibility to carry out that resolution, and we'll get it done.
Okay, the new sign that was put up, the old sign that was put up on Rock Street, is that state property or is that Agway's property?
It's Agway's property, and I do believe that sign may be relocated. I don't want to get the DPW supervisor up tonight to tell him that, but I will work on it during the week.
Okay, I see on Purcell Hill, there's a change of an alleyway named something else than what it's supposed to be. Did we make a resolution for that?
No, that was
resolutions were supposed, all street signs, like for the POWs and stuff like that.
You are completely correct. That was paid for out of my pocket as a ceremonial gesture to a 106-year-old gentleman who passed, who was a World War II veteran. It's down now. I took it down myself.
Okay, thank you. And I wasn't going to say it, but I'm going to say it anyway. Thank you for the advertisement on Sunday morning.
You're more than welcome, but you won't see any phone numbers or names.
I guess, Councilman Lewis, is that all?
That's it.
Council Vice President Giralamo.
Yeah, I have a few things, actually. Number one, I'd like to congratulate the Phillipsburg Housing Authority and community resources, community prevention resources. If you'll all look up there, there's something called the Envision Center, which was launched today. Phillipsburg was selected among hundreds of applicants. I was at the presentation today. All of council was invited. The mayors of Phillipsburg and Easton were there. This has been launched. It's through the federal government, through the Department of Housing and Urban Development. So this comes nationally through HUD. There were hundreds of applications. 17 were selected across the country. Phillipsburg was one of them. We are the only one in the state of New Jersey. And actually the only one in the immediate area. The next closest is Philadelphia. So the purpose of this, there's a few notes I jotted down. I thought the mayor was going to mention it, but since he didn't, I'll go into some of the key highlights and what it means for the community and beyond. The quote they gave us at the beginning was, this is a hand-up program. It is not a hand-out program. So the goal of the Envision Center, actually, before I even go there, I'd like to personally thank 4 people specifically. One, Georgine Trinkle, who I don't know, many people know. It was her brainchild. She took it to Paul Rummerfield, so I'd like to thank Paul Rummerfield as well. The two of them worked on the grant application together. Yvette Day was also critical in assembling this because it took two organizations locally working together to make this application happen. And it can only happen through a housing authority. And also Joanne Tersigny, Paul Rummerfield was out on vacation, so they weren't given much notice. It was less than 2 weeks' notice. We were notified on Friday that it was happening today. People came in from Washington, D.C. for this, as well as all throughout New York. They reviewed local poverty rates. This is going to be held in this building, in the Phillipsburg Housing Authority building, and the goal is to benefit the entire Lehigh Valley through this program. HUD is your help, is what they talked about. We had 21 agencies from across the Lehigh Valley come in and participate that will be offering their services to contribute to the Envision Center. The Housing Authority has extended all those services to not only the residents of the Housing Authority, but the entire community and Lehigh Valley as well. This is not going to be a federally run program. They described it as it's a nice balance of top down and bottom up. So what they did today was they came in and they spoke to people that were invited to come in from the Housing Authority because it was the only residents they currently serve. So they spoke to them about what their needs are in the community. So they asked them, what do you need? The biggest goal of this Envision Center is so that the services come to the people as opposed to the people having to go to the services. So what they found through all the research, and this research all came at the request of Ben Carson. Ben Carson's philosophy, which I wrote down, is, it's a quote actually, it's Proverbs 29:18, where there's no vision, they will perish. So Envision came out of that quote. Specific requests for services, some of the things they talked about were job training, having everything brought to them, and better delivery systems. Just so everyone's aware, some of the requirements for this program to be met and why this specific place was chosen was you had to have brick and mortar already in place. They don't want their money to be wasted on construction and buildings. They want it to go directly to the services that will impact the people that need it the most. There are 5.1 million people currently being serviced by HUD. There are 15.6 million on the waiting list. There's an app. It's free to download to anybody that wants to download it to learn more about the program, so I'll stop talking about it. It's Envision Centers, so if you want to download that, you can learn more about the program and how it's going to be serviced. There's 4 pillars, just to understand the principles: economic empowerment, educational advancement, health and wellness, and character and leadership. It's all those 4 pillars that they're looking to supplement. The school district was here as well. So it was actually, it sounds like it's going to be a phenomenal program. They're having a WebEx next month to go into greater detail. The only piece missing was legal aid, so if anybody knows an attorney that'd be willing to donate some services to help this program launch, I'm sure we can all reach out to some people. That was the only aspect they were looking for that was missing. So if you need more information, you could call the Housing Authority, as they will be in charge of that program. So I think we're looking forward to a lot of new services coming, and it's all going to be housed in this building. Let's see. I'd like to thank Stan Schreck. As everyone's heard, the Bourbon Street construction is well underway. They chose to wake me up at 5:45 in the morning, which was a mistake. So I want to thank Stan for alerting them to the fact that that violates a few ordinances, as well as it wasn't fenced off. And I contacted Stan in the mayor's office, and it was taken care of that day. So I want to thank them for that. It was a bit of a safety issue being a block from a ball field that's used daily. Ray, thank you for that. The Warren County Fair was mentioned. Mrs. Timberman also had a rock mentioned at the last meeting. I have a flyer up here if anyone's interested. Nicole, what is the date on that?
It's this Sunday.
This Sunday, okay. As well as the bowling at Warren Lanes. Thank you, Ray Hunt. And there's also a backpack collection, so I'd like to thank Rupel Funeral Home for that, as well as the Citizens for a Cleaner Community. If anybody would like to donate to that backpack collection, you can contact the Citizens for Cleaner Community, or Rupel Funeral Home also has a drop-off. And I believe that's all Rich Hay. I just want to commend him. He is the only department head in the entire time we've been serving on council to consistently give us a report every month of what's happening. And it's very clear, very simple, very easy to read. You know what, I just want to give props to Rich. It's nice to not have to find out on Facebook what's happening in the town. And Rich does a stellar job reporting. I know it's in the town code, every department should be reporting to council at some point throughout the year. Rich does it very, very consistently, and I want to thank him. That's all.
Thank you, Council Vice President. Councilman Davis?
I can't follow that up. I'm good, Council President.
Okay, Councilman McVeigh.
Thank you all for coming tonight. Your attendance is paramount in our town improving and getting to where we want to be. So a lot of folks came out tonight, and amazing for you that have remained here. Thank you very much. First and foremost, I'm just really happy that our water is, we heard tonight that it's safe. Try to get that word out as, you know, as any means possible. A lot was covered tonight, business-wise, so I'm not going to go there in my comments. I'm just going to be a bit personal, if that's okay, which I rarely get. I post before you tonight in my work outfit. Most nights, council nights, I have about 10 minutes to spare. That's a lot of time for me. I can get some sort of suit and tie on and move forward. But tonight was tight, and I knew it was going to be tight. Traffic was tough, and I said to Council President, which we both agreed on, I said, how about if I just let the people see who I am, just for this evening? And this is me. I got a full-time job. Now, I'm going to speak for the whole council, too, because I've already been running in here almost late, and poor Councilman Davis is right behind me, too, coming from his job. I've already passed the Council Vice President on the highway. We all just raced here, and what I'm trying to say is I'm not trying by any means saying, you know, we all know what we got ourselves into, but just as a gentle reminder, and the Council President agreed that, you know, once in a while, each one of us just show up as if we're racing for work, and sometimes it's tough. If you got the time, we'll do it, but we all got a lot of stuff going on in our lives, and especially a lot of the stuff talked about this evening. We get it on emails, we get it on phones, we get it in person, we get it in stores. This is a very difficult job, and I love it, don't get me wrong, and we all love it. I'm proud of our council. We're a reading council, we do a lot, we ask a lot of questions. Sometimes we're unanimous, sometimes we're not. But just a gentle reminder as you see us, and as we move forward, maybe Councilman Davis or Council President will just show up and just as we are, because we do have jobs and stuff. It's just a reminder that when we look tired and we don't have all the answers, but the answers we give are well thought out. We like to think that they're educated answers, they're heartfelt answers, equally thought with the heart and the head, and what's the best interest of the town. And with that being said, we don't vote as Republican, we don't vote as Democrat, we don't vote as if we're in the middle. I don't vote as a Devil fan, he doesn't vote as a Redskin fan. We're just residents of Phillipsburg that care about this town. So I know sometimes we get up, and even the mayor said it himself, the heat that he takes. You know, I mean he's there full time, and that's what he signed up for, and we're here part time, but it's really full time, and that's what we signed up for. We're not ogres, we're not ogre-esques. I don't know what the female version of an ogre would be, but I just want you to know personally, just by showing a little bit like who we are, instead of all dressed up to the nines, that we're folks just like you trying to make the best decisions. And if you get up there and kind of get on us a little bit and yell and get a little personal, really we're just like you, and we have to make these decisions, and we're not scared. We love what we do, and I just can't thank you enough for hanging in there and staying there. So with that being said, I'm just Frank McVeigh. I'm a Phillipsburg resident, and I'm your councilman. I'm proud of it. Thank you very much.
No savers.
I was born in a suit, so I can't,
You're next, though.
I go to work.
You're next. They want to see you without the three-piece.
yeah, right.
Has that been during track season? I'm allowed to come in my
Yes.
track sweats?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So the gold chain.
Really quickly, yeah, right, actually, we can't leave yet, we still got a raffle license we gotta go off on. Really quick, there was a rumor in town about a gang fight. It's been, and that was part of the reason the chief was supposed to be here this evening, and I've been getting numerous messages on Facebook regarding such. Yes, it has been confirmed that there were 2 altercations downtown that involved, I believe it was 40 youths and adults that had taken place in a violent altercation, and it then traveled from Sickeray Street, Mayor, am I correct, going down to the park, down to Jersey Hose?
Correct.
Okay, so here, folks, if you see it, if you think something's off if something doesn't look right, you need to call the police, okay? Don't message council, because I'll be honest with you, my phone goes, and I'm a married man with 4 children. If I don't turn my phone off at 8 o'clock, I will no longer be a married man, paying child support for 4 children. So, I encourage you to please call the police if you see something. Yes, see something, say something, right? Absolutely, without a doubt. Because you are our eyes and ears. You are the police department's eyes and ears. You are the only people that are going to go and keep this town safe, okay? So with that being said, I really have nothing. I'm burned. It's been a long, long night. Let's do the raffle license.
Second.
Roll call. We got a roll call vote for the raffle license, Councilman.
Councilman Lutz?
Yes.
Councilman Davis?
Yes.
Vice President DeGarmo?
Yes.
Councilman McVeigh?
Yes.
Council President Goldberg?
Yes.
Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Good to go.
Thank you.